Let's get nasty on a Wednesday. It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Jamie Rivers and Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. 201, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. We've got a jam-packed show for you today. Plenty of Cardinals, Blues, and NFL talk as well. Maybe some college football thrown in there. We got Craig Berube at 2:30 today, so we'll talk to Chief following the win, the first win of the season for his and your Blues. So again, 2:30 is when we'll talk to Chief. Jeremy Rutherford will also join us in the 4 o'clock hour. Of course, we got the Gauntlet. We need a new Gauntlet contestant. So if you want to text in right now at 314-399-9646, you have an opportunity to play either Jamie, Marsh, or me today at 4 o'clock.
Anthony
or
Stalter.
the Anthony Stalter. As somebody was saying that I said yesterday, which I didn't.
Yeah.
But we start off today's show talking about a local story that is catching, that's building up in steam, I feel. Yadi Molina was asked in an interview down in Puerto Rico about the Martin Kilcoyne report that we discussed last week, in that there's mutual interest between the Cardinals and Yadi about joining the Cardinals coaching staff. Yadi, when asked directly about the quote, mentioned that when he was up for the Adam Wainwright, the Wayno's weekend, that celebration, that there's some components that he was kind of excited about. We don't know anything other than that, though, Jamie. I feel like there is very little information that we actually know when it comes to this Yadier situation. I'm not trying to pour cold water on it, but do we know if he's going to join the coaching staff or he's going to be a consultant? Because those are two wildly different things. Do we know if he's going to join the coaching staff or somehow be involved in the front office, which is not a rare thing when it comes to franchise legacy players? A lot of them get some sort of front office position as a reward for what they accomplished throughout their time for that team. Is he going to be a coach traveling every single day? Or is he going to be somebody that is a consultant? If he's involved, I think that's fantastic. But there's so much that we don't know when it comes to the Yadi situation, and I feel like everybody's getting all jazzed up. It's almost like we're setting ourselves up for disappointment here, and we're going to start blaming Mo on this if our expectations aren't met.
This
for
is
Yadi.
what happens when you have a bad season. Your fan base starts to cling to anything positive that it can find.
Good point.
And what is there that's more positive than Yadier Molina, Adam Wainwright, Albert Pujols? Like, when you hear names like that, and if you hear them involved as far as coming back to help coach or be a part of the team, you think to yourself, yes, we're going to solve this. It's going to get back on the rails, man. Mm-hmm. My guy can do it.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the way it works, though. And when I look at Yadier Molina, I don't know. I could be 100% wrong. And I know he managed at the WBC, but that's a short period of time. It's not the same demands as managing or coaching an MLB team. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I don't see Yadier Molina being the guy that's at the clubhouse at 7 o'clock in the morning till midnight for 162 games. That's just the games.
Right.
Never mind the off days and spring training and all that stuff. So I don't see it as that way because, quite honestly, he doesn't have to be. He's got enough money to live the rest of his life very, 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 very comfortably. And so do his kids, grandkids, great-grandkids, all that stuff, okay? But I could see him in a consulting role. And I do think that there's something to be said about having a guy like Yadi around. Not the manager in waiting, not the guy looking over Ollie's shoulder all the time, but maybe that bridge to gap between what some of the coaches are trying to get across and what some of the players are experiencing. And I read something the other day talking about Mike Maddox. Well, Mike Maddox, or not, is it Mike Mad
Yes.
Dog? Yeah.
Yes.
I was getting him mixed up with
Greg Maddox?
Yeah, the brain, it's
Mike's
real.
Greg's brother.
Yeah, no, he isn't, but I like the joke.
He is.
With Mad Dog, he was a catcher. And The catchers see things differently. So maybe having a guy like Dusty Blake with the numbers is good, and then maybe having a guy like Yadi who could also work with Wilson Contreras and, whoever else, Andrew Kisner, Ivan Herrera, but also offer some tidbits of information towards the pitching staff, because that's what Yadi used to do. He used to manage the pitching staff from behind the dish.
Yeah.
But I don't see him being there for 162 games. That's
I have a difficult time envisioning that as well. This is what Yadier said when asked about the Martin Kilcoyne report. He said, I had the opportunity when I went to see Adam Wainwright a couple of weeks ago to sit down with the management, and a few points were talked about, Molina said. Then he added, we hope that if something happens, it will happen soon, and if not, then I would still be willing to continue helping them when they need me while I'm here in Puerto Rico. They have the knowledge of my willingness to take a position in management or the coaching staff. The reporter who did the interview in Puerto Rico with Yadier ended his news article with this blurb. Last season, the front office decided to sign catcher Wilson Contreras to a 5-year, $87.5 million contract to fill the space left by Molina. However, his performance was not as expected, and St. Louis management will want to maximize his talent as soon as possible with Molina's presence in the clubhouse. Again, I think this is positive. Any way that you can get Yadier Molina back in your clubhouse or back within your organization from a consulting or coaching or managing situation is a plus. Don't mince words on this. That would be a huge plus for this Cardinals team moving forward. What I don't want to see happen is, without much information, people start to assume that he's going to be on this coaching staff, because we like to kind of tell this narrative at times. Matt Holliday is a perfect example of this. The thing that you and I are talking a lot about, Jamie, is 162 games plus.
Oh, yeah.
162 games plus training camp, plus not seeing your family a lot, plus the grind of being on the road, plus the long hours. Matt Holliday realized before everything got going that he didn't want to be away from his family, or at least not have that option or that flexibility to join Jackson Holiday on the road if need be. And he has told us that.
Get him a hotel room when need be.
Get him a hotel room when need be. Jackson saying, I'm struggling a little bit. Matt saying, I'll be there tomorrow. Hopping a plane. That's what Matt Holliday wanted to have the opportunity to do. We've asked him about this multiple times. Yet the narrative has been Matt Holliday saw what was going to happen with this Cardinal season, and he bailed. See? Not factual. So I think what happens is some people will start to run with this, and then the expectation will be he's going to join the coaching staff. And if it doesn't happen, it's Mo lied to us. He said he was going to join the coaching staff full time.
Or how did Mo screw this up?
Exactly.
Which isn't the case.
No.
Yeah, it could be. Who knows? But this is going to be a Yadi or Molina decision. What I mean by that is the Cardinals are going to offer him a spot. It's not going to be, hey, Yadi, pick what you want to do. Hey, Yadi, here's what we envision for you.
Right.
Would you like to do it?
Do you share in this vision?
Yeah. And if not, then that'll be it.
Yep.
That'll be it.
So there's another theory, too, being floated around. Our guy, Alex Ferrario, on BK and Ferrario, he's got his tinfoil hat theories. This is his tinfoil hat theory when it comes to Yadier Molina.
Oh, boy.
Tinfoil theory for you guys. Haven't had this one in a while. I also wonder if this is an opportunity for the Cardinals to get ahead of the pack in the offseason with free agents. Because we've heard so many guys, Steven Matz told us on the air, we've heard other guys talk about how bad they wanted to come to St. Louis because of Yadier Molina. Now, I know none of these free agents are pitching to Yadier Molina. You're pitching to Wilson Contreras, which has been Days of Our Lives Cardinals edition this season. But you also know if I'm Aaron Nola, if I'm Sonny Gray, if any of the other fringe pitchers, I'm coming to St. Louis, and Yadier Molina is going to be the bench coach working with the catcher, which means he's working with the pitching staff. And I got to imagine there's a little bit of, in the back of John Mozeliak's head, thinking this might at least give us a slight edge on other teams in terms of free agents and their interest in St. Louis.
Okay, so I actually don't hate what Alex is saying, and I think I understand where he's going with it, is what would be the confidence of Blake Snell, Aaron Nola, Sonny Gray, in knowing that this year, pitchers had trouble connecting with Wilson Contreras.
Right.
That pitchers' numbers inflated this year. Whether it's the pitcher's fault or not, you're looking at every single Cardinals pitcher and their numbers went up, which is not great. So if I'm one of those guys, I'm going, maybe that's not the right spot for me. Oh, wait, Yadi Molina's there? He's going to be able to work with the catchers and also the pitching staff and kind of be around. That just makes it a little bit better. Maybe I have a little more confidence now in signing with the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of my take on what Alex is saying.
Yeah, I think
my own spin on it.
I think it's the sweetener in the coffee, but I don't think it's the coffee.
Do you use sweetener in the coffee?
Sometimes.
What kind? Do you like real sugar? Do you like the little yellow packets, the pink packets?
If I do anything, it's actually not the sweetener. It's the like different kind of creamers. But
yeah,
you know what I mean. They got
like
different
those creamers.
They got different flavor creamers.
Yeah. What's your favorite kind of creamer?
Depends on the time of year, you know?
Yeah.
Like normally I like black coffee, period. But it's holiday season, maybe a little peppermint. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Mix that up a little bit.
Good call, Anthony.
And you throw in some, Baileys or something.
Maybe. Spice it up.
Yeah. Depends if it's a weekend. Maybe a nice Sunday morning. It's cold outside. But you warm your heart up. Little Baileys.
Could, easily. Mm-hmm. Whiskey will do that for you, too.
Damn right.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Suddenly I'm thirsty. Nolan Arenado's streak of 10 straight gold gloves came to a close. Does this guy stink now, moving forward? We'll talk about it next on 101 ESPN. Since my wife and I have been searching for a new vehicle, I have become very familiar with the Auto Center Nissan website. If you go to autocentersnissan.com, you could search anything. You can search your make, your model type, your price range. Maybe you want a used vehicle and you want one with a third row. That's what we need in the Stalter household because of the 3 different car seats. All that's available at autocentersnissan.com. You can see what is available, and boy, they've got a lot of vehicles, 750, in fact, over 750 new and pre-owned vehicles that are on their lot at Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum. You can search for it online, then go test drive, then set up the finance, and they have financing options for everyone. You can learn a little bit more about their complimentary lifetime warranty or their 30-day return promise. But it's all available at autocentersnissan.com. So if you want to start there, great. If you actually want to head down to Herculaneum, beautiful spot, man. It's pretty much brand new. We were just out there a couple of weeks ago. Terrific spot out in Herculaneum. And you'll see once you drive on the lot how many vehicles they have to choose from, and it's all right there. You don't have to worry about drive into this spot, but we purchased it here, but it's at actually this other dealership. No, at Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum, everything's done right there for you. Don't forget, tell them Stalter sent you. It's a fast lane on 101 ESPN. So Nolan Arenado's streak of 10 straight Gold Gloves comes to an end. He will not receive a Gold Glove this season from Major League Baseball. Austin Riley, Ryan McMahon, and keeper Ryan Hayes are the ones that are up for the award at third base in the National League. First base, Carlos Santana, Freddie Freeman, Christian Walker. So Paul Goldschmidt isn't up for a Gold Glove. I don't think any of this is really surprising, but it does add an extra piece of crap on top of the dumpster fire that was the 2023 St. Louis Cardinals season.
Yeah, so here's what I wonder. In no way did I think that Nolan Arenado or Paul Goldschmidt would win a Gold Glove this year, but are you a little surprised that one of them at least wasn't nominated? Like, Arenado didn't have an Arenado year.
No.
But he still didn't have a bad year. Like, the guy won 10 in a row. Don't you throw him a nomination just because? I mean...
Unless he didn't deserve it, though. I mean, and I don't think that he did have the best defensive year.
I know he didn't, Anthony. I'm saying that. But was it so bad that he's not even in the top three?
I'd have to check Riley, McMahon, and then keep Ryan Hayes. I don't know. I don't think he should be nominated if those other guys were better.
Yeah, that's an if.
Yeah.
And if they were better, how much better were they? I don't know. It's just a conversation.
Sure.
About it. It's nothing. I'm not dying on this hill with this, by any means.
So let's push this story forward then. Any concern that Arenado's game is tapering off?
No, what I saw, well, okay. Overall, probably. I mean, overall, yeah, probably. I mean,
it's one of those, like, we're all dying.
Exactly.
Day by day.
Yeah, I'm closer to dying today than I was yesterday,
Right.
Anthony. So
morbid, but true.
Yeah, true enough. But yeah, his game is going to start to taper for sure. It's just human nature. The beginning of the season wasn't great for Nolan Arenado, at least defensively. Mm-hmm. But then as the season went on, it picked up. Like, he made some really solid plays, and he was pretty solid overall. But, you know, I think for Nolan Arenado, let's try that one again, it was a combination of things, too. I think that there are times where he tries to do too much. Like, he tries to win every game with one at-bat.
Yeah.
He tries to win the game with one ground ball. Mm-hmm. So you can't do that. Sometimes that starts affecting you in different ways. And I don't know if it affected him this past season, but it looked like it did. It looked like the weight of the world was on this guy's shoulders.
I agree.
And his play kind of mimicked that.
Yeah, I don't think that this was like a work ethic thing. I would never question that with Arenado, especially, or Goldschmidt, especially. I just thought this was a bad year. I think the weight of the world comment is spot on. The players, especially when the season was teetering, like, we can say, oh, it was over in April. But when it came to, if you go back and you say, all right, April, May, June, once we got to the end of June, everybody knew it was pretty much over with. At least that's how most of us felt. And the players look like they were just pushing so much that it just impacted their entire game. And I think that's what we saw with Arenado. Now, the defensive stats are always, they could be a little misleading at times. You really got to use your eyes. The eyeball, Arenado didn't always pass the eyeball test when it came to his defensive play. But just for blanks and giggles here, if you look at the defensive metrics, this was his worst defensive year. Mm-hmm. He had a 3.7 when you look at the fan graph, defensive fielding and position adjusted combined. So last year he was a 13.2. Over the course of his career, he's been in double digits.
Yeah.
So a 3.7 is pretty low. The Cardinals season and Arenado's individual play, just like a lot of players' individual performances, mirrored each other. The team didn't play well. And we could harp on the pitching, and it's true. A lot of the problems were the pitching. But that defense was not up to par at all. And almost from the outset. I know they might have, statistically, they got a little better throughout the course of the year. But that is not a championship caliber defense. That is not a division winning caliber defense that we saw.
No, I agree. It was a tough season. I guess I didn't realize just how much of a dip there was in his defensive play. Mm-hmm. Because maybe the eyeball test. Like, when I watch him play, some of those plays he makes are incredible.
Yeah.
And, do those wash out some of the bad ones? I know statistically they don't, but for me as a fan, when I watch, I tend to forget about, the flubbed ground ball when he's going, 35 feet to his right into foul territory and then off one leg throwing a heater over to Paul Goldschmidt for the out. I tend to forget about the little flub that he had 2 games before.
So here's the other question. Remember when BT was on with us a couple of weeks ago? And he said there's going to be teams calling for certain players. And he actually mentioned Arenado. Arenado has no more opt-outs in his contract. He bypassed the last one last offseason. So he would have to waive a no-trade clause. But I thought it was interesting that BT at least mentioned that teams could be calling for Arenado. Do you guys foresee Nolan Arenado being dealt this offseason? Like, let's say,
whoa.
And the reason would be, let me clarify here. Not from the Cardinals standpoint of
223.
We're a better team. Yeah, we're a better team without him. That's not this. I wonder if you look back at his last year in Colorado and how frustrated he was with that management, frustrated that he was losing. It's a last place team this past year. He wanted to come to St. Louis in part because he felt as though he was going to be in the playoffs every year. Now, it could be true. This could be a quick turnaround. But could you guys envision him going to management at some point and said, listen, this isn't what I wanted either?
This is a situation. So I understand the comparison to his time in Colorado, but this isn't the same situation. Colorado was bad every single year. And this is one off year for the Cardinals. So one would have to think that he's so pissed off at one off year and that he doesn't believe that next year the Cardinals will be better or the year after. So Nolan Arenado would have to kind of think that this team's not going to be good, or John Mozeliak might have to think that this team's not going to be very good, or John Mozeliak can't get the pitching that he desires and then says, okay, it's time to zag. Nolan, will you waive your no-trade clause? I'll send you to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And we're going to start, not a rebuild, but pretty close, because you could probably get some pretty good, like right now, guys from the Dodgers for Nolan Arenado.
Sure.
So I don't know. I think it's going to come down to the player and the management both evaluating what this team truly is. Because if it is a blip on the radar, it makes no sense to trade or ask for a trade. If you're right back in the party next year as a playoff team,
yeah, you feel good.
This is what you wanted. This is why you came to the Cardinals.
If you were to ask for a trade after 1 year, I don't know how that makes me feel as a Cardinal fan, because you're going to get upset over one season.
Which you were a part of. Like, it's not like you had this MVP type season and the team was terrible. Right.
You were a part of that. I don't know if I would want a player like that. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to do that.
All hypothetical here.
It's all hypothetical, and it could be any player for that matter. I don't know if I would want that player in the clubhouse.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I don't like that attitude.
I wouldn't want. This goes back. This to me compares a lot to when certain guys don't want to go to certain teams. Like Eli Manning didn't want to go to the Chargers. John Elway back in the day didn't want to play for the Baltimore Colts. Right? He goes to Denver as obviously a success, won multiple Super Bowls. Eli, same deal. So they made the right decision
for sure
for their career. But I always view it as, even I've been hard on Baker Mayfield. I've called him Shaky Bakey now for many years. I love that he wanted to be a part of the rebuild, part of the solution in Cleveland when he was selected by the Browns. Not I don't want to play for the Browns because they're bad. So that's how I like to view my athletes as well. I want to be a part of the solution, not get me out of here because we're not winning. Okay, so you can only play well when you're loaded like the Phillies are. I don't like that attitude.
Now, if it goes another year, maybe 2, and then he's like, hey, this is not what you promised me when we sat down and talked and I elected to not opt out. Yeah, trade me because this is not what I was promised. Then I understand that. But after one bad year,
No, I don't like that.
And none of this has happened.
No, this is all hypothetical.
We're doing the sports radio
Text line
thing.
wants him traded.
Okay, well, maybe we'll get into that a little bit later on.
A lot of people feel like moving on from him wouldn't be terrible. Could move Walker or Gorman to their actual position.
So let's revisit that. We got to get the Chief.
Let's ask Chief what he thinks.
Okay, yeah, sure. We want to dive into that.
Yeah, what?
I'm interested in the text line's thoughts. I'm interested in Cardinals fans' thoughts on this, but I do want to stress this: we're doing the sports radio thing. We're talking. Nothing has come out. Nobody has said. Nolan has not said anything. We are doing the hypothetical thing. All right, and I will remind everybody of that when we dive back into this a little bit later on. But we do got to get to the head coach of your St. Louis Blues, Greg Berube, next in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
Have you got a vision for a kitchen or a bathroom upgrade, but maybe you don't know who to give a call to? Yeah, call my friends over at E&B Granite for a no-obligation consultation. My friends at E&B have proudly provided the St. Louis area with exceptional customer service and products for over 20 years, and they are all about customer satisfaction. So please give them a call at 314-645-9300. Tell them Jamie Rivers sent you in. Again, that number is 314-645-9300. You get in there, you talk to the sales representative, and they're going to walk you through everything. They're going to make sure that you get exactly what you want. They're going to make sure that it's installed properly. And when it comes to countertops, nobody has a better selection. Whether it's granite, quartz, marble, even soapstone, E&B Granite has you taken care of. So please head down to 6135 Manchester Avenue. Walk in, tell them Jamie Rivers sent you, and you are on your way to having a beautiful kitchen or beautiful bathroom. My friends over at E&B Granite are going to help you. If you can't get there in person, get there online. Visit ENBGranite.com.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update. Driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Phillies defeated the Diamondbacks last night by a final score of 10-0. They lead that series 2-0. And the Rangers lead the series over the Astros in the ALCS 2-0 as well. They'll take on each other tonight. Game 3. Pregame starts at 6:30. You can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Coach Craig Berube of your St. Louis Blues will join us hopefully in a couple of minutes. Might be tied up right now. So we're trying to get him on the line. But how about the Philadelphia Phillies last night, guys? 10-0. 10-00. They blast the Diamondbacks.
Neither
and
of
you
us.
and I can't get the home run right.
We picked Schwarber hit 2 bombs, didn't he?
Yeah, Trey Turner led off.
Yeah.
Didn't lead off. He hit a home run in the first, and then Schwarber homered in the 3rd and the 6th inning. We didn't even have Schwarber. I had Bryce Harper.
I thought Schwarber may have been done for a day. For a day.
Apparently
Take a day
not.
off. Like, he had a leadoff bomb the game before. I thought, okay, like,
Yeah.
you know, not many guys go back to back.
Right.
Well, apparently he did.
Apparently he does.
Yeah.
This Phillies team is just loaded for bear, man. They're loaded for the postseason. I always think about what Chris Duncan, our guy Dunk, used to say, and I think he got this from, maybe it was Seaver. You know, he talked to Seaver one time, and he had said this about, as an opposing pitcher, you always want to know where your outs are in a lineup. You want to be aggressive, certainly. You don't want to back down, but you always want to know where your outs are. Jamie, and I'm going to read this lineup to you.
Go ahead.
Schwarber, Trey Turner,
Yeah.
Harper, Alec Boehm, Bryson Stott, JT Realmuto, Nicholas Castellanos, Brandon Marsh, and Rojas.
There it is.
Yep.
There it is. Rojas. That's my guy.
That's your guy. He did strike out 2 times and then ground out. That's it, though, for this Phillies lineup. You could be Merrill Kelly, who had a good year. You could be Zach Gallen, who had a fantastic year. But there are no, outside of Rojas, no easy outs in this Phillies lineup.
No.
Could you imagine if they had Rhys Hoskins healthy?
Well, he's working on it.
He's trying to get back.
He's working on it. He sees something special going on here, and he knows he can be a big part of it.
Certainly. But this Phillies team is an absolute juggernaut.
There's no way they lose, right? Like, I'm not even talking about Diamondbacks. I'm talking about there's no way they lose.
Well, that's right, but I mean, you can't put down the Rangers.
Well, the Rangers have to they got to do their work too.
They're up 2-0 now.
I know. Scherzer hitting the bump, I believe. Isn't it? That what's going on tonight?
I think we're, and I'm not just saying this because both teams are up 2-0, although it's easier certainly to say this. The Phillies, I told you yesterday before the game last night, I said Phillies are going to sweep. So I think they sweep. The Astros, I don't
Have
expect.
the Phillies lost a game yet in the playoffs?
Yes, the only one they lost was the Michael Harris, Austin Riley game, where he went back. Harris caught the ball, threw it in. Riley doubled up Bryce Harper.
Oh yeah,
that's the only game.
Yeah.
So one, they blew a lead, and 2, it took an absolutely miraculous play by 2 guys to beat this team.
Yeah,
that's it. So you look at this Phillies team. But the Rangers have not lost, period. They swept Tampa. They swept Baltimore. And right now they're up 2-0 on Houston. Houston does not have the pitching this year, top to bottom.
Where's your lean, Phillies, Rangers, if it ends up being that?
It's hard not to lean with the Phillies.
I think the Phillies have more dangerous lineup.
But I almost feel like we're being disrespectful to the Rangers.
No, I don't feel that. I just think that just based upon what you just said, you just rung off the batting order. I don't believe the Rangers rival that as far as their offense.
No,
is
their offense is really good, but nothing to what I just read off with the Phillies.
And Max Scherzer, he could be the missing piece. If he comes out tonight and pitches the way he can, well, that gives you another starter. Or that gives you a 1-2 with him and Monty now, and Evaldi can be bumped down a little bit.
Sure.
So that does change some things. But
Playoff Nate, you got to call him.
Playoff Nate, that's right. Yeah. You're right, because this season was less than desirable.
Yeah.
But his postseason's been pretty damn good.
I was listening to the radio today, and so there was a caller. I think I was listening to Mad Dog Radio, and there was a caller that was talking about the Rangers, and he goes, "Boy, if you're the Yankees right now, what are you thinking? Because Aroldis Chapman, they made a slight tweak, and Chapman's lights out again. Jordan Montgomery has been phenomenal. And how about the tweak that he made thanks to Mike Maddox?" And I started laughing. I'm like, Yankees? What about the Cardinals? Now, you knew what you had in Montgomery. You weren't going anywhere. You had to trade him. And I'm assuming they went to Boris and at least said, "Hey, are you interested in re-signing? Because we are." Boris probably told him to get bent, and then they made the move. But they moved on from Mad Dog. They moved on from Maddox, and Maddox made a slight tweak with Jordan Montgomery, and now this guy's filthy.
Doesn't look very good.
It's not just Randy Rosarina. It's not just Dulles Garcia. It's not just Montgomery. It's not just watching these players perform at this postseason level. It's also your damn coaching staff. Skip Schumacher. Marlins didn't win, but they also faced the Phillies. But they got there ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
Thanks, Skip. Man, live, little frustrating. All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We do hope to get Craig Berube on the line at some point. He'll be fine. He'll join us. He has never skipped out on us.
No, there's a reason,
ever.
For sure.
He's probably dealing with a meeting or something like that. Blues off again tonight, but they're back in action tomorrow against the Arizona Coyotes. Pre-game starting at 6 o'clock. We are also, don't forget, on Friday going to do a live broadcast 2 to 6 at River City Casino and Hotel. Later that evening, you got the inaugural Blues Warriors Awards Gala that will be taking place. What that is a dinner. You got dinner, drinks, awards, a live auction, and more with our guy Jamie Rivers and Chris Kerber, along with former Blues Reed Lowe, Cam Jansen, Tony Twist, and more. You got tickets for the Blues Warriors Awards Gala now on sale at 101ESPN.com, and it also goes to support the Blues Warrior hockey. So want to make sure that take advantage of a great event, and Jamie and I will be out there again from 2 to 6, River City Casino and Hotel on Friday. If we don't get Chief, maybe we'll dive back into that Nolan Arenado discussion. You were active on the text line when we were throwing out some hypotheticals, and Jamie, from what you read, I was a little surprised that fans were like, yeah, you know what? Maybe now's the time to trade him. We'll get into that next on 101 ESPN.
Fellas, are you currently using ED meds? If you are, that's fine. Nobody cares. What I care about is that you're paying too much for those ED meds. And that's where I tell you to go visit my friends over at the Medicine Shop in St. Charles, your destination for cheap ED meds. That's one of the great things that the Medicine Shop in St. Charles offers. The other thing is free discreet shipping of your medicines to your home or your workplace. And it's great for people like myself and maybe people with busy schedules to where you just can't get to the pharmacy all the time. So the pharmacy comes to you. They bring the medicine to your home. It's awesome. I mean, I highly, highly recommend it. Also, they do have a great pharmacy located in St. Charles. Great representatives over there. They're going to help you with anything that you require. They're going to answer any questions that you have, and certainly going to take great care of you because they treat you like family. So please visit them over there. Tell them that Jamie Rivers sent you in. If not, check him out online at stcharles.pharmacy. That's stcharles.pharmacy.
we weren't. I wasn't expecting this. I won't talk for you guys. You guys are grown men, full adults. You guys can talk for yourselves. But I wasn't expecting for you, Jamie, to look at our Air Comfort Service text line at 314-399-9646 and read off numerous texts from our listeners and Cardinals fans saying that they would be entertained, or they would entertain, if they were the Cardinals, trading Nolan Arenado for some pitching. Now, why this came up has nothing to do with Nolan Arenado. He has not said anything. He has not said that he wants out. There's not even
not said it though.
There's not even any speculation. Full-fledged warning. Disclaimer. We are doing the sports radio
What
thing.
are you so uptight about?
Jamie works for the LA Times now.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
The National Enquirer.
We gotta watch.
Inquiring minds
We gotta
wanna
watch
know.
him when he gets on Twitter. You never know what he stumbles upon.
That's a good point. You're right, Anthony.
So let's just stay focused here.
There's some stuff out there too.
Yeah, there is.
What are you so worried about?
I'm not worried about
You're
anything.
uptight.
I want to make sure that we're all on the same page with why we're discussing this. We're just hypothetical.
Anthony, we're simply providing an option to the Cardinals that they might explore if need be. That's all.
Would you explore trading Arenado for pitching?
Depending on the pitcher, yeah, I would.
Assuming that you're going to get a young cost control pitcher that right now is at the very least a 3, but he's got the ceiling of a 1.
No, I'm not going there. You're giving me an established guy.
Nobody's going to give you an ace. They're not. No
Well,
contending team is going to say, I'll take Arenado, but I'll also give you my ace. They're just not. Know what I mean?
Well, then I'm not making the trade.
Okay.
There, simple.
All right.
Game over. Because you've got a guy that's cost controlled in Nolan Arenado at a fairly reasonable price tag right now, especially for some of the bigger franchises, that's going to provide you, 10 years in a row of Gold Glove service. Not this year, but maybe next year. You've got to get something more than a 3 with a possibility of elevating. You got to get me a guy that's a 2 right now, and the ceiling is an ace.
I don't know who that'd be.
I don't either.
I think we give.
What about Timmy Tight Pants?
Yes, but if I'm the Dodgers, I'm
Well,
not
you went
giving
all
up.
year this year without him.
I'm not giving. Well, and look at what happened.
Well, you also lost another guy who couldn't, keep it between the lines,
Very true. Very true.
which would have probably helped the
But
Dodgers.
but you're illustrating the issue. They need pitching. So I'm not giving up Walker Buehler.
I think a 4 would work, and we
I didn't
give
ask
the
if
other
you'd give him
team
up. Would that
$50
be a
million.
guy you'd take?
Of course.
So that's a trade you'd make.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do that, we had Dylan Cease. I'd take him too. If we want to go through like what I would
I think
take,
I need more than Dylan Cease for Arenado. For me,
an ace.
we just went through this, Anthony. We just ran down this road together.
Were we interlocked?
No, we weren't. We're not even close to that at all.
Okay, well,
We might actually be running in different directions.
You can't drive past me and then shout the opinion out as I'm going this way. I might
do it all the time.
I might miss it.
I saw a guy today honk the horn and flip somebody off and drive off the other way. There's no response to that. What do? You just got served. Enjoy it. How does it taste?
Probably not good.
No. So that's what I'm doing to you.
Okay, I don't like it.
Hang on. Marshy's got something great to say here.
What do you got, Marsh?
I don't know if it's great. I was just kind of joking around. I was saying maybe we just get a 4 and we give the other team $50 million.
I mean,
Wow. Yeah,
something
it's
to consider.
enticing.
Yeah. I mean, others have done it before.
It's something to consider.
it has
Sure.
been done.
Dylan Cease, though? You would trade Nolan Arenado for Dylan Cease?
Do you have an ace?
Is he even
Yes.
that great?
Okay.
He had a 4.58 ERA.
Yes, Marshy.
He's coming off of Nolan Arenado didn't have a great year.
Oh, come on, Anthony.
But we know about Nolan Arenado, right? No, seriously. If we're going to do that, then we got to say, well, no. If I'm the White Sox, well, your guy stinks too.
Here's the thing, though. One, he's not he's not waving.
Isn't that ridiculous?
He's not waving his no trade clause to go to the Chicago
No,
White
he's not.
Sox.
Absolutely
and two,
not.
I don't think they even need him because they're not in a spot to win right now. What's the point of getting a good player like that if you're not in a spot to
The
win?
only reason why I brought him up is because Jamie was talking about, who I would take. Would I take Walker Buehler? Yeah. I don't think the Dodgers are going to trade him to you. That was my point.
I think they would.
Yeah.
I think they'll look. I mean, if you can get a guy like Nolan Arenado and you just went a year without this guy, without Walker Buehler, like, what's the big change? You can still go get a pitcher. If you're the Dodgers, you still have the money to go get a pitcher.
Yeah, true.
That guy's had, 2 Tommy John surgeries already, though?
Yeah, is that great?
No, I mean, that's definitely somebody the Cardinals would take in, and then, of course, he probably wouldn't pan out.
You have a third one.
Would that be unheard of?
The Cardinals would be against him
wins
wearing
the
those tight
MVP next
pants.
year.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Those tight pants are not the Cardinal way.
No.
You're going to have to get one size bigger.
It's way too flashy for us.
Here's another question. If we're trying to compete with other teams in the National League, why would you give the Dodgers a player that ultimately makes them way better than you? I don't even care if you do get a pitcher back. You're still not beating that team.
It's a really good point. How are you going to get top-end pitching, though? It's a great question. But it doesn't, to me, supplant the bigger question, which is, how are you going to get top-end pitching? It's going to hurt. It's going to be a risk. All trades are risk.
I mean, you got to pay for it.
You do have to pay for it and hope that whoever that you're trying to give your money to wants to enter into that marriage as well.
Well, right now,
Actually, you have to develop it is what you have to do. Let's take a step back.
Honestly, if this team wants to be back to where it used to be, it's probably not going to take one off season. Unfortunately, it won't. That's just the reality of it.
No, and we're going to get into this conversation a little bit later on. But to use the term you did, to use a phrase you just said, the reality is you are going to be closer to building a sustainable winner when Jordan Walker and Nolan Gorman and Mason Wynn develop into, hopefully, stars, just like Ozzie Albies and Ronald Acuna and Austin Riley have developed into studs or stars. I don't want to use stars because that also it's like wrapped up in popularity. But when those guys become studs and you develop an ace, that is how you have a sustained winner. It's like having that foundation and then building upon it. The Braves a couple of years ago, everybody looks at what they did at the trade deadline. That's how they won. Yeah, and they
rebuilt their whole team.
They had an unbelievable base to go with it too. Acuna was hurt that year. That's why they threw just a bunch of players at the outfield situation.
Yeah,
but they still had Freddie Freeman. They still had Austin Riley. They still had Ozzie Albies. They had guys that they had that foundation in place. The Phillies are doing it the exact opposite, which is difficult to do because a lot of times you don't have an owner that writes the blank check for multiple players. That's just the bottom line. If you want to be a sustained winner, you got to draft and develop these guys. Could you get an ace in free agency? Yeah. That's the quick way to do it. But again, a lot of times these guys don't pan out. I think the Phillies are more of an aberration than we think. If you look back over time, the free agent teams, the ones that quote-unquote win the offseason, usually don't do anything. And it's very hard to sustain that because unless you're the Phillies and you're just going to like Trey Turner, you threw money at Trey Turner when you already threw a bunch of money at Harper and all these other guys.
Yeah, and it didn't work out right away.
Yeah, it took the fans to give him a standing ovation.
It certainly did.
To revive his season.
It turned around, didn't it?
The Phillies fans went complete bizarro world on that. They're like, let's do something so out of character here. Maybe this will work. We're going to cheer on our slumping player.
Yes. Apparently that was an idea from a radio producer.
Really?
Yeah, that threw it out there. But it was
reverse the curse.
Reverse the curse, basically. Let's actually be human beings. Be nice to somebody.
Those radio producers, man, they're coming up with
geniuses,
great.
Yeah, they are. They're absolute geniuses. It is the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. In the 3 o'clock hour, we will hand out Blues tickets.
Yeah, we will.
So be tuned in, whether you're listening to us live in your car or streaming us on 101 ESPN or the Air Alliance Team YouTube channel at 101 ESPN STL. You will, if you're listening at that time, have an opportunity to win Blues tickets for Saturday's game against the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's coming up in the 3 o'clock hour. We hope to be joined by Craig Berube at some point. We're trying to track him down. But why don't we do an early Sports Six-Pack? So if you got a question for us, 314-399-9646. Again, 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line, or the Air Alliance Team YouTube channel at 101 ESPN STL. You can always leave us a question there in the chat room. We'll do our Sports Six-Pack next.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is refreshed by Mackie O'Brien's, your go-to Irish pub in St. Louis for over 42 years.
Time for the Sports Six-Pack here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN 301. Your time check. Your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Here's Andrew Marsh with your questions.
Question number one.
Interesting one here from the 314. What do you guys think of the Rizzuto show calling out TMA for peeing on the bathroom floor? Is one of you sneaking around to use the unisex bathroom? There is a one single bathroom down the hall right next to TMA. Mm-hmm. Do you think they're peeing on the floor?
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely. Somebody is.
Yeah, but those guys are
I don't think they're doing it on
teammates.
purpose. I don't think they're doing it on purpose, but somebody's peeing on the floor.
Okay. Well, that we can agree on.
Yeah.
But it's probably somebody from the Rizzuto show, and they're projecting.
Wow.
They're trying to
you make a great
get everybody
point.
off the scent.
Make a
Maybe,
great
but
point.
those guys, I will say this, those guys are pretty adamant about keeping that bathroom tidy.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, Riz has threatened them.
He's and Riz with his own show.
Mm-hmm. And Riz, I don't think, goes to the bathroom at all during his show. Like, that's his thing. Like,
That's his badge of honor.
Yes.
I guess. I mean, good for you, Riz, but I'll pee when I have to. Although I'll pee in the urinal.
Yeah.
Not on the floor.
Yeah. We're accurate in the fast lane. Just look at our picks.
Yeah, I wonder if TMA just can't locate, you know?
Locating's apparently a little tougher than we thought.
Yeah.
Maybe that's so early that they're, peeing with one eye shut and they're just,
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it is them.
I don't know.
You know what? It probably is.
Yeah, Jackson was telling me the other day he was playing softball and was having a tough time in that. So maybe he's been struggling at the plate, struggling, not locating. So who knows? Who really knows?
Okay, yeah, the odds are high. It's probably TMA.
Yep.
Question number 2.
From the 217, do you think Nolan Arenado and Newt are going to see the Japanese pitcher? Do you think that is a recruitment trip?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well, if it is, then we can't be trading Nolan Arenado.
No, I got to wait till he gets us the pitcher.
And then deal him?
Yeah.
And then get another pitcher?
Yeah.
I mean, we could just keep him then.
Why?
We need 3 pitchers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we'd be a better team with him, though. You know? We add the pitchers
Walker
and keep.
Buehler would be pretty good in rotation, too.
Okay.
No, it's definitely a recruiting trip. I saw Newt wearing that guy's jersey to meet him. The Yamamoto. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He rolled up wearing a Yamamoto jersey. Apparently, he played on the Japanese WBC team with the player. So it's absolutely a recruitment trip.
Newt's a secret weapon.
Yeah.
He's going to be grinding all over this pitcher.
Probably. I mean, his grinding is very popular over there.
I mean, they had the leaders of Japan grinding.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're right there on their whatever their Senate floor, whatever they call it.
Oh, yeah.
They're sitting there, 2 hands grinding away in front of everybody.
Right on that pepper grinder. Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, who doesn't?
Well said.
Question number 3.
From the 636, we haven't heard from Drunk Mo in a while. How do you think he is preparing for the offseason?
Let me tell you what I think he is. Let me tell you, I think he's trading Arenado. You're just not thinking straight.
And another thing, I never liked you. Who are you talking to? I don't know.
Whoever wants to listen.
I would love to see a drunk Mo go to the press conference.
Oh, wow.
Wouldn't you?
Hey, at least you'd be going to the press conference.
Oh, wow. Shots fired by Marsh.
I mean, wow, well played.
Yeah, I'm not wrong, though.
No.
At all. Like, at all. Yeah. Still, I want to see the press conference where Mo is just ham-sauced. And you got all the members of the media right there. You know, you got Derek Gould, you've got
Katie
Wu, and John Denton, and Martin Kilcoyne, and,
Yeah,
whoever.
you know what I think of you.
And the Derek Gould, absolute pro, total professional. You know, what do you think the game plan is for the offseason in terms of the pitching staff? Kind of question is that? I know you, Derek. I know what you're trying to do. I like you.
Oh, pitching. I mean, who doesn't know?
I'll get you
when you're pitching.
I'll get you pitching when you write something good.
Oh, my God.
You know what? That's not fair. You're right. You're pretty good. What was the question? I just absolutely blitzed off his mind.
It'd be entertaining.
You want a pitcher? I'm going to get Shohei. Give me a check. He'll pitch next year.
We'll make him.
Mo, he's hurt. I don't care. You either want it or you don't. I'm out of here. Wouldn't that be better?
That'd be hilarious.
That would be great.
Would you guys like Mo better in that case? Like, if you're a Cardinals fan, would you got to appreciate it just a little bit. Like, this is my type of GM here.
Absolutely.
Or president of baseball operations.
That'd be great. He just takes a beer can, just crushes it on his forehead, and says, "Here, hold this, Derek."
Stone Cold Mo.
Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, next question.
Question number 4.
I don't even know if we answered that other one.
From the 314, thoughts on signing Yadi to the coaching staff and then trading him to be Skip's bench coach in Miami.
What are we trading him for?
Who
What are we
trading?
getting? What are we getting?
We're trading Yadi already?
Maybe we get another pitcher. That's how we build this rotation. We have Arenado and Newt go over, and they recruit Yamamoto.
Mm-hmm.
There's one. Then we sign Yadi. We trade him for another pitcher. There's 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's easy. You can throw out a flyer on Trevor Bauer. There's 3.
There's 3. Boom.
Okay,
There's your 3
done.
pitchers. We don't have to trade Arenado.
Yeah, I'm in.
I'm still trading him, though.
Well, then we'll get 4 pitchers. And then we'll have 6
Spite
pitchers.
at this point.
We'll have
really
6
not.
pitchers.
6 pitchers. We go to a 6-man rotation.
Yeah.
They'll never see it coming. I think we got it, guys. Nice job.
We should be presidents
Yeah.
of baseball operations.
That'd be good.
Question number 5.
Okay, from the 618, completely random. Do you think Marshall Faulk wins more than one Super Bowl had he stayed with Indy with Peyton Manning being there? Not sure what made me think of this today. Haha.
So wait, Marshall Faulk, he won one in Indy?
No.
Oh, he
But
missed the Indy train.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think
I was like, I don't think he won one.
No, he didn't. So I think what the texter is asking is he won one with the Rams, but let's say he stays in Indy. Does he win multiple because he stays in Indy with Peyton Manning? I think the issues would still be the same. Actually, the issue would still be the same. Even if Marshall was in Indy, he got one problem. One huge problem. Do you know what, or more accurately, who that problem is for the Colts?
In Indy?
Yeah. Same problem they had. Same problem why Peyton Manning didn't win more in Indy.
It's a coach?
No.
Who?
Marsh.
What?
Out with it.
Same issue. If Marshall stays, the Colts had one problem throughout the course of Peyton Manning's career
their
in
defense.
Indianapolis. No.
No, he's talking about one player in particular.
Yes.
Who? Marvin Harrison?
Tom Brady.
Oh.
It's the same issue. It's the
Okay.
only reason why you didn't win more.
You know what, Anthony? Kudos to you. I was not thinking about another player on another team. I was trying to isolate the Colts players.
Sure.
So,
For the first time ever, you weren't thinking of Tom Brady.
hey, you're right.
This is
I'm ashamed.
an absolute monumental occasion. But yeah, no, I don't think he'd win multiple ones because he's got Tom Brady to deal with. Marshall,
I don't know.
Marshall would go off, Peyton would go off, Tom Brady, last second drive, field goal, win, done.
Anthony, I don't like your attitude.
I'm just saying.
Maybe.
Jamie, am I wrong?
Probably. No. But maybe, I don't know. You know,
You're conflicted right now because you love Brady, but you
Yeah.
also love giving me crap. So
I do, but I also look at that team, how good they were, and then add Marshall Faulk, and maybe that makes a difference.
I just pictured Mo again. He's up there.
Playoffs?
Give me another beer. I think Drunk Mo should be a segment.
Question number 6.
All right, from the 636, if you could eliminate a team from ever existing and all memories wiped away, who would it be?
Oh, boy.
I almost think of a mercy kill for a team. You know, not a like dynasty, because dynasty, I mean, it's just, we're talking about elite.
Has
Elite
anybody
teams.
in any pro sport always just been bad? Like, never?
Never good.
The Columbus Blue Jackets.
Well, but they still got to the second round when you're in the playoffs. Like,
You just mentioned one season.
I know, but I'm talking about, like, not even that. Like, never achieving any kind of success.
Yeah, I got one.
There's got to be a basketball team.
I got one, but you're not going to like it. This team has never had success.
The Atlanta Thrashers.
Well,
maybe.
even they got to the playoffs.
Yeah,
that
that's
one
fair.
year.
The Lions. The Lions, over the course of their franchise, have been an absolute...
How many playoff games do they have in franchise history?
Like 4.
That's not good.
I'm probably off on that, but...
How many playoff wins do they have?
Probably 0.
No, I think they've won 1. Detroit Lions.
But there's got to be a
playoff
basketball team out there
history.
that just gets absolutely just
Yeah, probably
pulverized.
like the Trailblazers. I don't think the Trailblazers have won
You know,
anything, have they?
Portland had a good team there with Clyde Drexler on that team.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
What about
All-time-
the Charlotte Hornets?
maybe that's it.
Yeah, that's a good one. All-time playoffs for the Lions. All-time history of the franchise. They went to 20 playoff games.
Oh boy.
They're 7-13. 7-13. 9 wild card games, 5 divisional games. They're 0-9 in the wild card round. 0-9. Divisional round, they're 3-2.
Yeah.
And they played in 1 conference championship game. And obviously they lost because they've never been to the Super Bowl. So,
Well, I mean, it's a good pick. We get a couple from the basketball world talking about the Clippers and the Timberwolves.
I think the Timberwolves went to the Western Conference Finals
Did
with Garnett, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know.
Maybe they didn't. But yeah, they're a team that, yeah.
There's not another hockey team outside of Columbus?
No,
I mean, not really.
Baseball, if you look at like the Cubs for a long time, but obviously they won. And Cleveland has not won in, they've got the longest streak, I believe. But at least they've, they got to a World Series and they've been more competitive. But
I got a text here from the 618, and I really actually like this one. It's not the direction that any of us were headed in. 618 says, eliminate the Red Wings. Blues would probably have 2 or 3 more cups if we did that.
There you go. Somebody's thinking.
That's so true.
It's a Fast Lane on 101 at ESPN. What gets the Cardinals closer to being a legit contender? A big-time offseason or some of their current players developing more? That's next on 101 ESPN.
Money.
When it comes to the Missouri Athletic Club, I love going down to the West Clubhouse. Of course, the downtown spot's fantastic as well. They've got their speaker series that they have every couple of months there, and some of the events, man, the events that they have at the downtown MAC is incredible. But when it comes to the West Clubhouse, that's usually where I head to. I love getting my workout in. I love going to their business center, prepping for the show. Sometimes I'll get something to eat. But the club members are fantastic. A lot of times you walk by somebody, hey, how you doing today? Or, hey, you get in a conversation with somebody, hey, what do you do? And they're always great. A lot of people play squash or racquetball or, basketball. I saw some kids playing some football, some touch football there the other day in the gym. And I was kind of, I'm like, you know what, maybe I should just go play some touch football. I probably want the old guy involved. Either way, the Missouri Athletic Club is fantastic. I love going down there. I love taking apart or taking the family down to and taking part when it comes to, some of the events that they have. But fantastic club. That's my MEC, the Missouri Athletic Club. What gets the Cardinals closer to being a legit contender? It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Jamie Rivers, Andrew Marsham, Anthony Stalter. When we ask this question, we're really talking about spending in free agency and having an active free agency or the development of some of their younger players. Now, the correct answer is probably, well, both. You know, you don't build a roster just in one way. But again, if we're going to isolate it and say, what gets you maybe not to being a legit contender, but how about a sustained contender again? I'm assuming, guys, a lot of people aren't going to like my answer to this, but it is absolutely positively the development of your young guys. And we get this sometimes throughout the last couple of years, we've gotten, hey, why not just blow it up, rebuild, tank like some of these other teams do? You don't have to tank. You just have to develop your young players. And I know that the Phillies are kind of throwing a wrench in the works here. Maybe even the Rangers. But the Rangers still have still have a ton of young homegrown players, or guys like Adolis Garcia who are not homegrown, but they kind of developed them. So it's not necessarily about drafting young players. It is about drafting, developing, and or picking apart some of the other rosters around Major League Baseball, which is allowed. I know the Cardinals don't typically like to do that, but you could pick certain guys off other rosters and develop them. That's how the Dodgers got good, quite frankly. It wasn't until the foundation was set when they added Mookie Betts and they added Freddie Freeman. They, made the trade for Max Scherzer and Trey Turner. They picked apart some of the other teams. Max Muncy, he wasn't developed in that organization. Max Muncy came from, I think, Pittsburgh. Or maybe it was Justin Turner that came from Pittsburgh. Either way, these are guys that weren't necessarily drafted by the team, but they were brought in. They were developed, and they developed into regulars. That is what leads you to sustained success. Now, this offseason's a little different. You have 3 spots open in your rotation, and the other 2 are occupied by Miles Michaelis, who had a severe up-and-down season. And the other spot, of course, is Steven Matz, who we don't know if you can trust him because so far in a Cardinals uniform, he's missed more time than he's been in uniform. This offseason's different. You have to be aggressive. You have no other choice. You can't sit there and wait. But make no mistake, Jamie, the key to the Cardinals matching up with some of these big teams, it's not just free agency. It's not just put your huevos rancheros on the table and make these big-time trades. It is about the development of Jordan Walker, the development of Nolan Gorman, the development of Mason Wynn, the development of some of your other young guys, developing an ace. That is how you sustain it. Then you add. And like I said, people are going to be disgusted by that because it's not the easy way. It takes a little bit of time. But if we're going to have the conversation of how do you get to the Dodgers level, how do you get to the Astros level, how do you get to the Phillies level, how do you get to the Braves level, it starts with that for me.
No, you're right. I giggled when you talked about you develop an ace because there's nobody in this Cardinals organization that even projects to be that.
No, they're playing for Miami and Arizona.
No, you're right. Now, we can't necessarily go back and change that at this point. If we could,
Unfortunately not.
We would.
I tried.
It'd be certainly an option.
Yeah.
But just moving forward, who's your projected ace? Because even as good as Tink Hence has been, I've never heard anybody say that he projects to be an ace.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Maybe somebody said it somewhere. If that's the case, then I stand corrected. But in all the baseball people I talk to and listen to and read about, nobody has said, hey, the Cardinals have a future ace in Tink Hence or a future ace in Graceffo or McGreevy. They don't. They don't say that. Now, I don't know. Maybe.
Or maybe it's somebody else.
Yeah, but who? That's the thing.
I don't know. But to your question,
my point is a bigger point than like the actual player.
Mm-hmm.
My point is just how hard those guys are to find.
Very true.
Let alone develop them. You have to find the right player that you actually can develop them into an ace.
Yeah.
That's really where the struggle begins for any team, not just the Cardinals, is identifying the talent that can be top of the food chain.
Sure.
And it may not be pretty right now where they're at, but you have a scout or you have somebody that notices what this kid has that nobody else has or very few have. And then internally you can develop pitching.
Yeah.
This is why I think the pitching lab and all that, I was shocked to learn that the Cardinals are so far behind in that category because This used to be a pitcher's factory way back when. So the Cardinals were known for so many years was solid pitching, developing pitching. And now they're sitting here with one of the best ways to develop, to enhance pitchers, and they're not even part of the party yet.
Right.
So how can you develop or improve the development or the trajectory of a player if you can't offer him the things that other players are getting?
It goes hand in hand, to me, in my opinion, Jamie, with only having 10 coaches. Having one of the lowest in terms of total amount of coaches on your staff in Major League Baseball. I don't know this to be true, Jamie, but what you just said about like the pitching laboratory and not the resources weren't dumped in there, and then the coaching staff. You know what it tells me, and I don't know this to be true, but it tells me that ownership was looking after the pandemic. Okay, where can we cut?
I don't even know if that was after the pandemic. Did they have it before?
I don't know.
Because I've never heard of the Cardinals having, an extensive coaching staff. Like, it's always just been very traditional. The amount of coaches are, just the way it is in baseball. Whereas some of the other teams that got ahead of it and hired outside help to come in on consulting basis or a skills development basis, like, I haven't heard that about the Cardinals, like, ever. I've heard former players coming back and bringing them out for a week here or the spring training and things like that, but never, have I heard that they hired 3 or 4 guys in a very concentrated area to improve a certain aspect of the game.
Right.
So maybe now's the time to do that stuff.
You bet.
Maybe
yes.
that's part of the spending more money. We equate that to going and signing the big player. That's an easy way to equate it. What gets difficult for an organization is to justify to the fan base that, hey, we are spending a lot more money. You just don't see it. You will in a year or two when these players develop and we've got, high-end pitching.
Right.
But you don't see it right now, and you're calling us to the carpet because you can't see that we've put another $25 million into this organization.
Sure. And fans don't want to hear that either.
I know.
But I actually would respect if they said it that way. If that were the case, because you bring up a really good point, Jamie. If that were the case, excuse me, and you say to the media, assembled media, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you spending this? Yeah, we are developing we are putting a lot of our resources into scouting and developing. The draft is the lifeblood of our organization. This is how we're going to build a sustained winner. This is where a lot of our resources are going. We're not saying that we're not going to spend 85 point whatever million on a catcher. We'll do that too. But a lot of our resources are going into this. Again, fans aren't going to be, until you win.
Well, it's not
fans,
sexy, right?
Yeah, fans are going to be like, I don't care about the scout.
Yeah.
Give me the player. But this is how you do it. The Dodgers, the Rays, the Braves are some of the smartest organizations the Astros, some of the smartest organizations in baseball. And a lot of it is to do with their scouting, because they find guys like Alex Bregman and Jose Altuve and on and on and on. All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Let's do Prove Me Wrong. If you got a Prove Me Wrong statement, send it into the Air Comfort Service text line at 314-399-9646. Or if you're watching on YouTube, the Air Alliance Team YouTube channel at 101 ESPN STL. Again, we'll play Prove Me Wrong next.
your performance with Pure Performance, your one-stop shop for all aftermarket modifications. Pure Performance is by far the best place to go for all replacement tires for any vehicle. It doesn't just have to be oversized tires for your truck or your Jeep or your Bronco. No, it could be tires for any vehicle, for that matter, any vehicle at all. And I'll tell you what, if you're looking to accessorize a Jeep, a Bronco, a pickup truck, they've got everything there. They absolutely have everything that's located inside their 25,000 square foot facility. All you have to do is get over there. It's right off of Highway 70 in St. Peters. Walk in, ask for Shelby. Please tell her that Jamie Rivers sent you in. She's going to get you squared away with whatever you need, whether it's running boards or lights, leveling kits, lift kits. They've got everything for you over there, and they install it to perfection. Customer is always happy when they leave Pure Performance. I know for a fact I had some work done to one of my trucks, and when I picked it up, I could not believe how good it looked. So please get by there and see my friends at Pure Performance. But if you can't get there in person, get there online at pureperformance.com. That's pure, P-U-R, performance.com.
ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues picked up their first win on Saturday against the Seattle Kraken. They'll be back in action tomorrow taking on the Arizona Coyotes. Pregame starts at 6. Puck drop is at 7. You can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. Coming up next, we have head coach of the Blues, Craig Berube, joining the show. That's coming your way right now here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Time now for Chatting with the Chief with the coach of your St. Louis Blues, Craig Berube. Brought to you by Fisher Window and Door, your Marvin dealer with showrooms in Brentwood and East Alton, Illinois.
Well, Blues coming off the victory last Saturday, and they got some days off. Although tomorrow they're back in play. They got Blues Coyotes right here on 101 ESPN, your home of the Blues with Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Let's into the 101 ESPN Celebrity Line. As we do each and every week during the Blues season, we're joined by the head coach of your St. Louis Blues, Craig Berube. Chief, how are you?
Hey, good, guys. How are you?
Good, Chief, good. Hey, listen, a lot made of, the defensive systems being changed in the offseason and certainly preseason. And now that you've got 2 games under your belt, still a small sample size, but nonetheless, the only 2 games you've been able to play. What are your feelings as a coach about your team's defensive play so far?
Yeah, I think it's been pretty solid. I think that we're protecting the interior of the ice very well and the front of our net, doing a good job. Now, there's always improvement and things you got to keep working on, but, I've liked the way we've defended in our D zone.
Coach, what do you say to some of the people who might be concerned that the defense is maybe affecting the offensive output of this team?
No, that's not the case at all. We've had plenty of ozone time and chances. I think that, right now we're not hitting on all cylinders with the puck right now from an offensive standpoint, whether it's the shooting part of it, missing the net on some nice grade A's and things like that. It's just some execution things. So that's something that we're working on and trying to improve on. And also the power play is a big part of offense. You wouldn't know that, but I mean, I played a little power play.
You never played the power play.
As skilled guys, when you get the power play touches and power play starts to click, your offensive guys gain a lot more confidence. So that's something that we got to get straightened out too.
Coach Craig Berube, join us.
I got to interrupt. Chief, did you ever get power play time? Please tell me you have a power play goal somewhere.
Look at the stats. Look at them. I got a few power play goals.
No way. Were they beauties or were they off your butt?
Probably off my shin pad. Net.
Hey, it still counts, Coach.
I love it.
Still counts about the net, right?
Yeah, darn right you are. Craig Berube joining us right now on the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Speaking of your defense, Colton Parayko, man, he looks like he's closing out plays in the first two games, but I think you know hockey better than I do, Chief. What are you seeing out of Colton Parayko's play right now?
Well, very aggressive skating. Like you hit it on the head there. Closing plays out with his long reach of stick. He's physical, and again, his skating has really been good right now.
Coach, your defense have been able to stand up and hold the blue line a lot better so far this year. Is that a credit to the forwards being able to track better through the middle of the ice and causing more back pressure?
Yeah, for sure. I think our reloads have been fantastic by our forward. Now, we gave up some 2-on-1s in that second period in Seattle, but that's not a cause of tracking. That's just poor reads by a couple plays. But, our tracking's been good by our forwards, something we've been working hard on in practice every day. We're going to keep banging away at it because when they're back, pressuring pucks and helping on our D can close plays out, it helps out a lot, and that's a big part of defense.
Coach, moving to the offensive side of things, obviously the injury to Pavel Buchnevich, not ideal when you lose somebody like that. When it comes to Buch, how is his game difficult to replicate?
Yeah, he's got a high hockey IQ, which is hard. Some players just don't have the IQ that he has or the anticipation that he has on both sides of the puck. I think he's a fantastic defensive player. He has a great stick. We use him in all, every situation in the game, penalty kill, power play. We're going to miss his offense too. He's a great passer, sees the ice well, and he's got a good shot and can score. So, he's a big hole, but we're going to have to work around it. And we got guys that are capable of filling in the shoes and doing the job. We got to do it by committee. I mean, we need everybody up front to do the job, and so that's where we're at with that.
Yeah, obviously big shoes to fill, but it is a next man up mentality, and it has to be. So, guys like Brandon Saad get elevated within the lineup, and then also Alexei Toropchenko. He was on your fourth line, Chief. You bumped him up a little bit here in the rotation. What have you liked from the big man so far?
Well, the skating for sure, and the aggressiveness. He gets on pucks in the offensive zone. He's create turnovers and things like that. So I think he'll really help a couple of our guys up there create more ozone time, get to the net. He's a big body. He doesn't mind going to the net, and hopefully he can bang a couple home around the net.
Chief, you touched on the power play just a little bit earlier. It doesn't take a genius to figure out there hasn't been one goal yet. It's obviously not what you want as a coach. But when you're looking at the power play, what are a couple of things that you'd just love to see cleaned up in order for them to get some opportunities?
Yeah, I think off of a draw, and first of all, winning the faceoffs is important, starting with the puck, and then 1-2 passes. Let's get it to the net and create some chaos right away. I think that's a big part of it, just being more direct early and then create some chaos, finding some rebounds. And then when you recover these pucks, it's a quick play and attack again. Just attack off these recovered pucks because the PK is out of position. And then the other thing is just not forcing things. I think we're forcing it too much. Work the top, work it around, and again, let's attack off a couple plays, get it to the net, and then, simplify it a bit. And let's create some battles around the net, some loose pucks around the net, outnumber them, and then, bang in a couple goals, and then you get a little more confident.
Chief, these first two teams have been really aggressive against your power play, which was to be expected from both of these guys. But would you like to see maybe a couple of chip-ins on some zone entries and go grab the puck and settle it down there rather than trying to get the clean entry every time?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's something we pre-scouted, especially against Seattle. They're very aggressive. They have a real good 1-3 stand. And you got to self-chip and go get them and finish your routes on these plays. And then, again, it's about winning those battles and those puck recoveries. So we could do a better job. It's not always going to be a clean entry. You got to work sometimes. And I think we got to have the mentality of the power play is going to outwork the penalty kill.
Chief, before we let you go, we'd be remiss if we didn't ask you about the Shen and Kairu scrum the other day in practice. As a coach, you got to kind of appreciate the intensity, right?
Well, I asked for it, We have, that's the one thing that we really dialed in, this year is just, having that respect for your teammate, playing them hard in practice. So, it's a more game-like, and we hadn't played in a while. We had a little break, so I wanted intensity in practice, and I got it. And sometimes you're going to get a little scuffles here and there, and it's okay. That's okay. I mean, I like the reaction from it. It's good. Nothing bad happened. It's all good. Guys are fine with it. So when you play each other hard out there, you're going to get a little, the tempers are going to flare up a little bit. That's okay.
Love it. Coach, we always enjoyed chatting with you. Thanks for the weekly conversation. We'll chat with you again next week.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. I apologize for the delay.
Oh, no, that's okay. Whenever you're ready, we're ready.
Yep. So thanks, Rivs. Get out there and work on your PP stuff and your alumni stakes.
Hey, Chief, you want to talk about looking at the stats? Go check the stats for power play goals, baby.
You got a few?
Oh, yeah. A couple of one-timers, top cheese, couple of playoff power play goals, too.
That's nice. They're nice, eh?
Yeah. I felt like I was king of the world that day. My very first playoff game, I had an assist in the first period and had a goal in the second period. I thought, this league's easy.
I remember in a playoff game against Buffalo with Flyers, I was playing there where Hasek was in net, and I ripped one over his shoulder for a 1-0 win. No big deal.
On Hasek? You put one top shelf on Hasek?
Right on Hasek.
That's awesome.
What has he got? 6 Vesnas?
Yeah. Couldn't stop you, though, Chief. That's awesome, man.
That's incredible.
Take it easy, man.
See you guys. See you. Coach Craig Berube here on 101 ESPN.
That's awesome.
No big deal, he says.
You know what's funny? Guys like Chief and I, we remember the goals.
You have to.
Because we didn't score a lot of them, right?
Well, but you guys were... Your role wasn't always you weren't the goal scorers.
No.
So.
But it's fun that he remembers Hasek. Like the goalie that I scored the goal on the play was Nikolai Habibulin. Bulin wall. I thought this is easy.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't.
It wasn't. It turns out it wasn't. All right, we got Prove Me Wrong next in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
Prove me wrong, kids. Prove me wrong.
Let's step into the courtroom. Jamie Rivers and I will attempt to disprove one of your statements.
Oh, boy.
Andrew Marsh, the Honorable Judge Andrew Marsh, will decide our fate as lawyers. Judge, Team Rivers and Stalter ready to go.
All right, let's start with the 217. Prove me wrong. The Astros spent more money on their IT department in 2019 than the Cards have in free agency.
Well, yeah. Have you seen the people they had to employ? I'm going the wrong way again, right? You take this one, counselor.
Okay. This is obviously an overreaction to a situation in which a Cardinals fan is looking at another team, jealous as all hell. And I understand it, don't get me wrong, rightfully to be jealous. But looking at a situation and using a straw man argument to knock down our client, the Cardinals. Clearly, they have spent more in payroll than the Houston Astros have spent on scouting and IT. Now, had you said the Cardinals have spent less on trash cans than the 2019 Houston Astros, then maybe you would have had a case. But not today and not up in here. We rest our case.
I'll give it to you.
I almost screwed that up for a second.
That's all right.
You know
You're
what
fine.
I was playing in my head?
What's that?
Magic 8 Ball.
Yeah, we haven't played Magic 8 Ball in a
Yeah,
while.
it's been a while.
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
give it to you.
I'm ready now.
It started off real shaky bakey. But Anthony really hit home with the trash cans.
Anthony, yeah,
that really
it.
got
Yeah.
me there.
It's about the closing arguments and
Yeah.
It's what you leave them with.
yeah.
Absolutely. So, congratulations, gentlemen. Moving on to the next one, the 618. Prove me wrong. St. Louis City SC will always be firmly in third place because there isn't an offseason to discuss almost daily like the Cardinals and the Blues.
Oh, that's absolutely wrong. We talk about St. Louis City all the time. We have a guy, Kyle Hebert, comes on weekly with us when they're playing. Now, when he has some time off, of course, we give Kyle a little break too.
Sure.
But did you see Bradley Carnell out there today? He's out there on the pitch practicing with the boys, playing a little keep away. He's sliding out there to kick the ball away because he's playing this game with all the other guys. No way a team like that stays third place in this city. They're already at the forefront of every day. I wake up and I wonder what's going on down there at Citi Field. I want to find out how the boys are doing, if they're hurt, if they're nursing something, how Leuven's doing, how our guy Klausdale. Heck, we even give them nicknames, Anthony.
Yeah.
So if you're going to tell me that St. Louis City SC is in third place or going to be forever, that's just outright nastiness that I don't appreciate. Not only will they be higher than third place, they're going to be bringing home a championship soon, and we're going to get a damn parade out of that team. I rest my case.
You had me at parade.
Yeah.
You had me at parade. And yes, this team has had off since October 4th, but they're gearing up this upcoming weekend. They'll take on the Seattle Sounders, and then we'll have the MLS playoffs. And yes, this team will win an MLS title because we're not here to win regular season titles. We're here to win in the playoffs when it matters most.
Well said, Judge. Well said. It's a soccer hotbed here in St. Louis.
Yeah, it is.
And the other teams didn't play well the last seasons, respectively.
You're not wrong.
Interesting one here from the 980. Prove me wrong. Anthony should drop the Eagles and 49ers in his hierarchy list of top NFL teams, also known as the Stalter Stackup, based on losing to the Jets and the quarterbackless Browns. They are on the same level as the Cowboys.
If I may, Jamie.
Please do.
I understand that losing to the Jets and losing to the Browns, respectively, not a good look for my clients, the 49ers and Eagles. But if I may, who would you put number one? Sure, the Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl last year, but I believe they posted a whopping 19 points on the worst defense known to man, the Denver Broncos. At home, no less, and with the Swiftinator up in the press box. You dropped 19 on the worst defense in the league with the greatest pop singer in the world watching you? Really? That's your number one team? I don't think so. Who else are you going to put up there? The Buffalo Bills, who lost or nearly lost to the New York Football Giants, who were playing with backup quarterback Tyrod Taylor at home? That's your number one team? Or how about the Miami Dolphins, who lost to the aforementioned Buffalo Bills? No, I don't think so. One loss for the 49ers, one loss to the Eagles does not make a season. And if Moody kicks that ball right through the uprights with his family watching, his proud family watching, we're not even talking about this. I rest my case.
Anthony, you make a solid point.
Thank you.
What the hell? And I hate to do it, but of all the teams that you listed off, you failed to mention the Detroit Lions.
You did.
That's because I didn't have much of an argument against them.
You hate to see it, folks.
I should have brought up the Seahawks loss. That's really the only thing I had with the Lions.
From the 314, prove me wrong. The Blues must make the playoffs for the season to be considered a success.
Well, no, I don't think it has to be playoffs or bust. I think you have to see a better team, quite honestly. I think you have to see a better effort consistently throughout the season. There's no doubt that making the playoffs in the NHL is not as easy as it once was. Your division is going to be competitive again. Can't forget about the Pacific Division. Some of those teams are still lying in the weeds over there, but we know that they've got some high-scoring teams in Edmonton in particular, the Vegas Golden Knights, defending champions. Nashville Predators, we don't know what you're getting there. So I don't think that, again, I don't think it's playoffs or bust for this Blues team. It just has to be better. It has to be more consistent. You have to see a team that's playing meaningful games right down to the end of the season in order for this to be a success. But I don't think it has to be playoffs. I think Blues fans are smart enough to realize that they're looking at a better product. They're looking at a better team. The fact that maybe they didn't make the playoffs, well, that's a result of things, but still, nonetheless, they'll be proud of the franchise.
I don't like it.
What didn't you like?
Wow.
Doug Armstrong said that he believes this team could be a third-place team. That is a playoff.
Yeah, but then I'm
team.
set up with the question. No matter what I answer, I lose.
Hey, some arguments
you,
are meant
Judge.
to,
Okay.
Whoa, Mike. No, my partner.
Hey, you wrangle your client.
My partner.
You get your client in order.
He's fine. He's a little hot on the
This guy's tainted. Someone's paid this guy.
He didn't get enough sleep last night, Your Honor.
You're right, I didn't.
He was drinking a lot of bourbon.
A couple.
I
was diving into the case. What I was doing.
He's fine.
Working at least more than this guy was.
He's fine.
What?
Jamie.
All right, I'm sorry.
Don't cost us future cases.
Okay.
Last one here, if you guys can keep it together. From the 636, prove me wrong. The Cards will not win another World Series with Mo at the helm because of his consistent ineptitude to handle prospects and more often failure to sign good free agents.
You mean the John Mozeliak that helped win a World Series championship in 2011 with his one singular trade at the trade deadline? You're talking about the John Mozeliak who built a 2013 pennant team that unfortunately ran into David Ortiz, who should not have been pitched to that series. Not Mo's fault, by the way. You mean the same John Mozeliak that built a team that got to the NLCS in 2019 before they ran into the buzzsaw that was Max Scherzer, Steven Strasburg, Anibal Sanchez, and Patrick Corbin? You mean that Mo? Do we not like Jordan Walker? Do we not see Nolan Gorman developing? I know a lot of people love Tommy Edman, homegrown player. Brendan Donovan, Jamie loves him. So do you. Homegrown player. Sure, we've hit a rough patch here, but my client has a long history of success here in St. Louis. The rest of my case.
Wow. I thought you did a great job. He already had made up his mind.
Yep, he did. That was residual effects from Jamie yelling on him.
Barely had the question out, and he already had his decision made. Didn't matter what you said, Anthony.
Nope.
Anthony, you mentioned a long list of young talent.
Yeah.
That Randy Flores brought in.
Well,
Who hired Randy
is
Flores?
under Mo.
Who hired Randy Flores?
Jeez.
I mean, we can push this.
You're nickel and
We
diming
can
me
push
here.
this.
It's a hung jury.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
They hung that jury.
No, Anthony,
wait.
that's not the way you
That's
word
not the
it.
way I say it.
No. The jury is hung. That's the
Yeah.
way you say it.
All of them are hung.
Yeah.
We'll revisit
The
this
entire
later.
jury.
It's impressive.
Okay. We got the Gauntlet next on 101 ESPN.
Anthony, Thursday night football is upon us tomorrow. I'm certainly excited for this game. I mean, who wouldn't be, right?
Good matchup.
What I'm also excited about is that all customers that are using FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, they can get in on the no-sweat same-game parlay specifically for Thursday night football. And all you have to do is place a 3-leg same-game parlay on this week's game between the Jaguars and the Saints, and you'll get bonus bets back if you don't win.
Yeah. When it comes to the NFL same-game parlays, perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at an even bigger payday. Build your own or choose from one of the popular same-game parlays that are pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. All you have to do is visit FanDuel.com/fast so you don't miss out on your chance to get a no-sweat same-game parlay on America's #1 sportsbook, and do so before the Saints and Jaguars tomorrow night. You can line up one side of that puppy if you want, or maybe you like some of the overs. You know, you like the Jags, and then you load up some of the overs there. Unders for some of the Saints. I don't know if you watched the offense lately. The Saints stink offensively. How you want to build your same-game parlay, that's up to you at FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL.
21 and over, President Illinois. Refund issues non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Get 11% off your favorite food and drinks at Menards. Matza Pizza is loaded with over ½ a pound of real Wisconsin cheese and piled high with your favorite premium toppings. It's big, bold, and outrageously delicious. Stock up on Brewpub Matza Pizza today. Now just $5.99 each after 11% rebate at Menards. Good through October 22nd. Savings or mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Kevin Moret for Mentality Men's Health. Guys, over 20,000 clients have sought treatment at Mentality for low T symptoms. The weight gain, fatigue, and loss of drive they were feeling was actually a decrease in their free testosterone called Free T, the testosterone that actually fuels your body. Our FDA-approved treatment restores your Free T to optimum levels, restoring your energy, metabolism, mental focus, and performance in life. Covered by insurance so any guy can afford it. In St. Louis, go to lowtusa.com. That's lowtusa.com.
You're listening to the Three Warriors, 4 categories, 1 challenger. Can you master the Gauntlet?
Brought to you by Master, your hometown source for business communications for more than 30 years. Visit masstour.com.
4:03, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Jamie Rivers and Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. Time for the Gauntlet, and we welcome in Ken to the Gauntlet. What's up, Ken?
So much. How are you guys?
We're doing great. Would you like to take on Jamie Rivers, Andrew Marsh, or me today in the Gauntlet?
I think I'll take you on, Anthony.
Wow. Okay. People are gunning for me.
Yeah.
All right. Ken, good luck, man.
Thank you.
All right, Anthony's going to make his way to the Cone of Silence. While he does that, Ken, I'm going to need you to tell Marshy to spin that wheel.
Marshy, spin that wheel.
All right, Ken, what category do you absolutely not want to see today?
Football.
Wow, the wheel has been very evil the last couple of days because it landed on football. So you've got my guy Anthony with football, his strong category. So you never know. You never know, Ken. Just relax, breathe, concentrate. Marshy's giving me the questions here. While he does that, I'll just remind you that if you answer these questions correctly without using the options, you get 2 points. If you use the options and get it right, it's 1 point. And of course, if you get it wrong, well, you get it wrong, 0 points. Ken, are you ready to go, bud?
Yes, sir.
All right. Again, the category is football. Question number 1. Who was the first running back drafted in the most recent NFL draft?
Well, I think I'm going to need the options for that.
All right. Was it Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, or Devon Achane?
Repeat those again really quickly.
Yeah. Was it Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, or Devon Achane?
I'll take Robinson.
Final answer?
Yes, sir.
Question number 2. The last time the Dolphins won more than 10 games in a season was in 2008 when they went 11-5. Who was their quarterback that season?
Options, please.
Options are Chad Pennington, Chad Henne, or Ryan Tannehill.
Let's say Henny.
Final answer?
Yes, sir.
All right, Ken, question 3. Aside from the Vikings, Kirk Cousins played for which other NFL team?
The Redskins.
Final answer?
Yes, sir.
Question number 4. Who is the all-time franchise leader in sacks for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Let's try James Harrison.
Final answer?
Yes.
All right, Ken. Let's get Anthony back in here while he's working his way in. How you feeling about this today?
As Mo says, not great.
Well, you never know. You never know. Our guy Anthony's plugging his ears back in here. Anthony, how's it going to sound, bud?
It was good. Yeah. Mike Ryder and I were talking about the Craig Berube interview, which you can check out at 101ESPN.com or your 101 ESPN mobile app, all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers.
Well done. We got to get Mike to replace that other chair in there. It's kind of a death trap.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's waiting for one of us to hit the turf and just giggle.
He might, yeah. Doesn't seem like Mike, but...
No, well, he's got a dark side, too.
Yeah, you got to watch him. Yeah. So how did our guy Ken do?
Well, Anthony, better pack a lunch.
Damn it.
All right.
We got random or random?
What do you normally get in the
hockey?
Yeah. Not today. It's football.
Oh.
Yes.
All right. Here we go.
Question number 1. Who was the first running back drafted in the most recent NFL draft?
Well, that would be Bijan Robinson out of Texas. Bijan Robinson. Final answer.
We just needed the guy's name, okay?
Okay, yeah.
You don't get extra points for that other fluff.
All right, my bad.
Question number 2. The last time the Dolphins won more than 10 games in a season was in 2008 when they went 11-5. Who was their quarterback that season?
In 2008, was it Chad Pennington? Yeah, I think that the last time the Dolphins were decent, I think Pennington was their guy. I'll say Chad Pennington. Final answer.
Question 3. Aside from the Vikings, Kirk Cousins played for which other NFL team?
The then Washington Redskins. Final answer.
Question number 4. Who is the all-time franchise leader in sacks for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
All-time franchise leader in sacks. I want to say James Harrison, but I'm probably overlooking somebody. Cam Hayward's probably had a lot of sacks, too. I'll take the options on this one.
Options are Mean Joe Green, James Harrison, or TJ Watt.
I got to go with Mean Joe Green. Final answer.
Do you remember watching him play? No.
No. Yeah, before my time.
He was right in, like, not my wheelhouse, but just like I was really young.
Yeah.
My dad talking about the steel curtain, those guys. All right.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. All right, why don't we start at the top? Who was the first running back drafted in the most recent NFL draft? Ken, you said Bijan Robinson. Anthony, you said Bijan Robinson from the University of Texas. Something like that.
I don't think I sounded that way, but
depends who you ask.
Okay.
Answer is
Bijan Robinson out of the University of Texas.
Not how I sounded.
But Ken needed the options. So it's 2-1 Anthony after 1. Let's go to question number 3. Aside from the Vikings, Kirk Cousins played for which other NFL team? Ken, you said Washington Redskins. Anthony, you said then Washington Redskins. Answer is...
It is Washington.
It is. Neither of you needed the option.
Nice job, Ken.
4-3 Anthony after 2 questions. Let's go to question number 4. Who is the all-time franchise leader in sacks for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Ken, you said James Harrison. Anthony, you said Mean Joe Green. Answer is...
It's TJ Watt.
Oh, wow.
TJ Watt, yes. So 4-3 headed into the final question. The last time the Dolphins won more than 10 games in a season was 2008 when they went 11-5. Who was their quarterback that season? Ken, you said Chad Henne. Anthony, you also said Chad Pennington. Answer is...
It is Chad Pennington.
Ken?
You have chosen poorly.
You lose. Not today. Anthony gets the win 6-3 today, Ken. Nice try, though, buddy.
Hey, thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening, Ken. Thanks for playing.
All right, thank you.
Have a good one, man.
Nice. Well, yeah. You had me wondering there, Marsh. You had me hanging. What were the other options on that one?
Was Ryan Tannehill.
No. For a second, when you were reading that question again, I go, oh, Jay Fiedler was pretty good, too. But that was a couple years before that, I think.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff. That's the Gauntlet here in the Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Let's give away some tickets right now. Fastlane has your chance to win a pair of tickets to see your St. Louis Blues take on the Pittsburgh Penguins this Saturday, October 21st at Enterprise Center. Hockey season is back. Grab your tickets for upcoming Blues home games now at stlouisblues.com/tickets, or you could text in to the Air Comfort Service text line at 314-399-9646 to win that pair of tickets for Blues and Penguins. This is how you do it. Jamie's going to give you a trivia question for today. You got to be the 101st texter to that Air Comfort Service text line at 314-399-9646. And, of course, you have to have the correct answer. Jamie.
St. Louis Blues traded Ryan Reeves to the Pittsburgh Penguins for Oscar Sundqvist and a draft pick. Who ended up being that draft pick?
Ooh, good question. So if you have that question, if you have that answer to the question, you could text in 314-399-9646. You got to be the 101st texter. Got to have the correct answer. If you do so, great. You're going to go see the Penguins and the Blues this Saturday. Speaking of the Blues, Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues insider, joins us next on 101 ESPN.
If you're looking to sell your home right now and maybe you're not sure what you should be doing and maybe you're not sure about the market, maybe you don't even think it's the right time of year to do that, well, don't trust all those questions with any average agent. Trust the best in the business, and that's Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And here's why. Gloria has great options for all of her sellers. The one I like the most, though, is guaranteed sales. That's where Gloria sits down with the homeowner and establishes a sale price and sells your home for that price, or she buys it herself. She guarantees that in handwriting. And why is she so confident about selling your house? Because she already has the buyers. That's right. Gloria Liu has thousands of ready buyers in her exclusive database. These buyers create a higher demand for your home, more traffic, more money for you at the end of the day. So please pick up the phone, call Gloria Liu, tell her Jamie Rivers sent you. That number is 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Conditions do apply. Gloria and the seller must agree upon the price and possession date.
Notes and nuggets. It's time for the Rutherford Report with our Blues insider, Jeremy Rutherford. Brought to you by Scott Lee Heating Company, a proud Mitsubishi Electric Elite contractor.
Well, Blues off again tonight, but tomorrow night they'll take on the Arizona Coyotes. And joining us right now to talk about your St. Louis Blues is our guy, Jeremy Rutherford with The Athletic. And, of course, you can follow Jeremy Rutherford on Twitter at JP Rutherford. What's up, JR?
Good. Hey, I was in the tire store. How'd you guys do in the Gauntlet?
Anthony kicked butt.
I won today.
Awesome.
It was a good day.
6 of a possible 8 points, JR.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, it was locked in today. But my teammates were there to help me, and we just take it one day at a time in the Gauntlet. But love the way the team's been playing.
It must have been football.
Yes,
it absolutely was football.
Yes,
I'll take that as both a compliment and a criticism.
Yeah.
JR, the interesting news today, kind of an interesting underlying story, is that the Blues' first pick in this last draft, Dvorsky, he goes to the OHL, and he gets the promotion to one of Jamie Rivers' old teams, the Sudbury Wolves. What does this mean for the Blues, and what does this mean for Dvorsky?
How about that? Are you on the wall there in Sudbury, Jamie?
I'm everywhere. I'm the Hall of Fame up there, as well as one of the top 5 players ever in franchise history. They have a little thing there.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think that Dvorsky is going to be next to you one day.
I hope so.
Because he's now a Sudbury Wolves. And, yeah, you see the news that he's leaving Sweden and he's heading to the Ontario Hockey League to play for Sudbury. And you wonder what it means. Well, basically, here's what it means. I spoke with his agent today, JP Barry of CAA, and also the Sudbury GM. And here's what I came up with is that the situation in Sweden just wasn't a good one for him. Dvorsky last year played in the second highest league in Sweden, and this past summer he signed to play with the top league. And it's a men's league, and they got off to a bad start, 2-8. They've got to win. It's a business. He wasn't playing his last two games for them. He played a minute 35 and 44 seconds for his total ice time in those two games. So I think J.P. Barry's agent and the Blues, Doug Armstrong, and Tim Taylor, the player development guy for the Blues, they were all in consultation, and it would be best to go to Sudbury, which is the team that drafted them in the import draft in 2022. So I think it's big picture. It's going to be a good thing. He's going to be playing in North America on the smaller ice, getting a chance to develop with Sudbury.
I think that's the biggest key to everything is getting a chance to play. You know, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Blues, their initial thought of Dvorsky playing in Sweden was that he would be developing with men playing at a professional level, and they thought that that was a pretty good idea. But when that goes sideways, you still need your player to continue to develop.
Definitely, and they thought that that was going to be the situation, even though it is a men's league in Sweden. And the agent, J.P. Barry, did tell me that Dalibor wanted to play against the best over in Sweden, so that's why they made that decision to play in that league. But when push came to shove, when the team started off slow, he didn't get that ice time. He's not developing. So in talking to Sudbury, I talked to Rob Papineau, who's the GM there, and he said that, welcome, Dalibor Dvorsky. You're going to get plenty of ice time. You're going to play top six, top line, in fact. Also, power play. The power play has been struggling there in Sudbury, so he's going to get that opportunity too. And he's going to get all the ice time he wants, and he's going to eventually leave there with his picture next to yours.
I hope so, man. That'll mean he's had quite a run in Sudbury.
Hey, JR, speaking of the power play has also struggled for the Blues thus far. What do you think of the special teams? What are you hearing about the chatter of the special teams and things that it's so early, but, you know, if there's any at least small tweaks that could be upcoming?
Yeah, maybe Dvorsky should come to St. Louis instead of Sudbury. They could help this power play. You know, it's 2 games, and you're right. That's the biggest thing. I mean, I was talking to Robert Thomas a couple days ago at his stall, and you know, you're saying that in 2 weeks, you know, maybe you're 5 for 25 on a power play. Things are starting to look a little bit better, and you forget about those first couple games. But you can't right now because this is the here and now. It's not looking good. You can't really analyze it and say it's this thing or it's that thing because it's everything. Today at the end of practice, guys, they did have kind of a smaller ice session for the power play. You know, I think that once you do get some things figured out with the zone entry and some better passes. I mean, honestly, we talk about the power play all the time. A lot of time it comes down to good, clean passes, and we haven't seen those. But I think Craig Berube is looking for some quick action, some crisp passing, and that's what the reason for the drill today.
JR, you put a piece out in The Athletic regarding the Blues, you know, overall defense and also Colton Parayko. You know, in doing that piece for The Athletic, what are some things that you learned about what's going on with the Blues defensive system? And, you know, what do you think personally about Colton Parayko's play overall?
I like it. I think he's been really good. But let's talk about the system first. You know, there's been a lot of talk about it. They're switching to the zone, and they're covering the slot area. Well, there's not, you know, I watched every possession of both games. I went back and watched it. And, you know, hockey, there's not a lot of situations where it's like perfectly set up and everybody's moving in motion and doing exactly what the zone is kind of calling for. You know, a lot of plays are discombobulated, and the Blues are trying to get out and kill plays before the teams can get set up. What I saw were, you know, guys executing, guys doing the things that we didn't see last year. Like Colton Parayko in particular, Riv, you know, he's beating a guy to the corner, winning the battle, smashing them into the boards, and then if the guy or another player on the opposition cuts back to the front of the net, you know, he's right on his tail. Torrey Krug, Justin Falk, both of those guys playing physical in front of the net with guys like Jason Robertson and also Jamie Benn. I think Falk knocked Benn down in one of the highlights that I clipped. So just a lot of different things that we didn't see last year. Again, we got to go back to 2 games. Things can change in a hurry. But I think right now they're executing it the way they want to be doing it.
Jeremy Rutherford joins us right now in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. We had Chief on earlier today, and we asked him about the scrum between Kyrou and Shen, and he goes, I asked for it. And he was asking, he was saying he was asking for the intensity. What are you seeing from one of the underlying storylines is kind of like the leadership, and how young guys like Jordan Kyrou and Robert Thomas would take the next step in leadership, but also obviously Braden Shen being named the captain. What have you observed that thus far from a leadership standpoint in that dynamic?
I think it's great. You're a reporter, so you wear the objective hat, and you're not really pulling for guys for certain roles. But I have felt following this team for a long time that Braden Shen could easily be the captain of this team. And it's not because he was pushing around Jordan Kyrou a couple days ago, but it's just because of the things that he does and says that you can tell he's kind of taking control of this team. And you have to do this stuff in the first week or two of the season, like if this stuff adds up and boils over and 2 months into the season, 3 months into the season, your record's less than 500 and Braden Shen is wishing he would have taken control earlier. This is what he's doing now. He's setting the tone for this team, and whether it's Jordan Kyrou or somebody else, he wants the hard work. And Anthony, I like you, when I asked Craig Berube yesterday about the Jordan Kyrou Braden Shen dust-up, he said, I like it. I wanted it. And I thought when he said I wanted it, he was saying like he called for it. Mm-hmm. No, he was just calling for a physical practice, and that was a byproduct of that physical practice.
Yeah, JR, getting back to the power play real quick, if the power play sputters tomorrow night against the Coyotes, which hopefully it doesn't, but if it does, do you see a scenario where on Saturday night Craig Berube goes 11-7 and Scott Perunovich makes his first appearance of the season?
Yeah, I could easily see that. I had a chat with Scott Perunovich today at his stall. He's just biding his time, waiting to get into the lineup. Riv, you know how it is sometimes as a reporter. You talk to a guy and you think that, hey, maybe there's a chance to get in for that reason. And, the player kind of has to do the lips locked and just stick to himself and keep working hard and try to get in there. But, yeah, I think there's a possibility to do that. I mean, who comes out of that forward group? You're trying to get the offense going. You're trying to get guys scoring. And, if you have to take one away to get Scott Perunovich in there, then I think that's the thing you have to do because they've got to get this power play going. Craig Berube said himself the other day, guys, if guys are scoring on the power play and feeling good about their touches, that'll transfer to 5-on-5. Perhaps that's the way to get this offense going, and Scott Perunovich could definitely help that power play.
JR, good stuff as always, man. We'll talk to you again next week.
Anytime, boys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. I guess we'll get into this a little bit later. I was going to ask you any thoughts on, our guy Dalibor Dvorsky getting the promotion, but maybe we'll save that until later on in the show. We have NFL 4 Downs coming up next on 101 ESPN.
There's no better place to spend a Saturday night than at the Blues game at Enterprise Center. And we've got your chance to win a pair of tickets and see your St. Louis Blues take on the Pittsburgh Penguins this Saturday night, October 21st. Hockey.
Johnny Londoff Chevrolet. The family has been in business for over 80 years, and they have been providing great prices and award-winning customer service. One thing I can tell you about Londoff Chevrolet, when you're buying a car from them, it's not always about the price tag, right? It is great to get the best deal, but you want a great vehicle and you want that customer service. You want to be able to trust the representative that they're working on your behalf. And that's what they do over at Londoff Chevrolet. They want to make you part of the family. I know this because I've been a customer for over 20 years and a friend of the family. And again, recently just purchased another vehicle from Londoff Chevrolet, and I couldn't be happier about all of it. The price, the process, the vehicle, it's been fantastic. So please visit the original location in Florissant, Missouri, or the new Londoff Autoplex located out in St. Peters, right off of Highway 70. Both locations have great inventory of new and pre-owned vehicles, and both locations are providing that excellent customer service that you deserve. So please get there. Tell them Jamie Rivers sent you in. If you can't get there in person, get there online. Visit them at londoff.com or londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Johnny Londoff Chevrolet.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Phillies defeated the Diamondbacks last night 10-0. They took a 2-0 series lead in the NLCS. Tonight, Game 3 between the Rangers and the Astros will be aired right here on 101 ESPN as the Texas Rangers lead the Astros in the ALCS 2-0. 6:30 pregame show for you. ALCS Rangers and Astros Game 3. The Blues will take on the Coyotes tomorrow. You can listen to that right here on 101 ESPN. Pregame starting at 6. Puck drop is at 7. We had Craig Berube on the show earlier today. We just talked with Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues insider from The Athletic. If you missed those interviews, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. This Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at Londoff.com and LondoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
It's Fast Line on 101 ESPN. Time for NFL 4 Downs.
First down.
All right, gentlemen, which team is impacted the most by their injuries? Of course, the 49ers, they lost Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel. There's some other teams around the league as well that are missing some key players. But which team has been impacted the most by their injuries?
It's hard to beat the 49ers at this point. So here's some updates. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting that the injuries to Christian McCaffrey, the oblique, Deebo Samuel, the shoulder, and Trent Williams' ankle, they're not considered to be long-term, but we don't know if they're going to play in week 7. So they've got a bye this week, which is nice. So we'll see what happens with these guys. But if you lose McCaffrey and Samuel, remember that positionless football that we talked about earlier this year?
Yeah.
And how difficult the 49ers are to beat? That positionless football goes out the window. So in other words, you can't just when you have all those guys, you got Christian McCaffrey lined up in the slot, you got him lined up out wide, and Deebo Samuel's in the backfield. It messes up the defense. You look at it and you're like, well, Deebo's in the backfield now. He's not a typical running back. McCaffrey's outside. He's still going to be they're as dangerous as ever, but now you're trying to align. Do we play man? Do we play zone? It screws everybody up. So that's the positionless football that I'm talking about. Those two guys aren't there. That offense, it doesn't go to crap, but that offense takes a significant hit.
Yeah, are we talking just about the injuries from this past week or the season so far?
I kind of took it as just this past week.
Okay. All right. If that's the case, then yes, I agree with you. However, if we were going for the season, I still think it's the Jets.
Yeah, with Rodgers.
The reason I say that is because that division, the AFC East, the Dolphins, the Bills, the Jets, that's going to be a competitive division. Even though the Niners have lost some weapons,
yeah,
they're at 5-1 in the NFC West, and Seattle's at 3-2. Like they still can kind of muster enough wins to get through and win the division.
Piece this thing together, boys.
Second down.
Which player stands out as the front runner in the MVP race?
Ooh. If we're just isolating, obviously, the MVP, the single player in all this, at this point, it's still hard to beat Patrick Mahomes.
Really?
Travis Kelce's been banged up. Mahomes says he doesn't have a ton around him right now, and he's winning games. I know the stats might not be there.
That's what I'm looking at.
Jared Goff has got a lot of help around him. Brock Purdy's got a lot around him. If you're looking at others like statistics, Tua, you can give it to Tua and not Tyreek.
Well, that's kind of what I'm looking at.
Kirk Cousins is playing for, if you're just looking at yards, Kirk Cousins is playing for a team that's, at this point, not a playoff team. Matthew Stafford, same deal. CJ Stroud's a rookie. I don't know if he's an MVP at this point, but he's having a really good year.
Yeah, I think I would go with Tua right now. I know he's got the weapons, but, the same argument can be made about a lot of quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes, you go, well, he's got Travis Kelce. I know he's been banged up and whatnot, but also the stats are reflective of that, too. I mean, look, Patrick Mahomes is, 7th, I think, in the league, 6th or 7th in the league in passing yards so far. So it's not like he's dropped to the bottom of the barrel.
Right.
But I don't think you can overlook Tua. Coming off an injury-riddled season last year, bounces back. He's got 1,876 yards. He's got 14 touchdowns, tied for first in the NFL with good old Kirky boy. I don't know. I think at this point, I think Tua has to be in the conversation. Patrick Mahomes obviously is always in the conversation. But that's kind of the way I look at it.
If you put Tua in Kansas City, are the Chiefs 4-1? Or 5-1, or whatever they're?
Hypothetical question that I can't answer.
I think they're terrible. That's kind of the way I look at it.
Yeah.
I think they would be.
But I still look at Patrick Mahomes and go, I expect a lot more of this guy. He's not an MVP right now. He's not.
If you put Mahomes in Miami.
You put anybody in Miami. You could put Marshy in Miami.
But isn't that kind of the point?
I understand that. But I'm just saying, Patrick Mahomes, your argument is Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes right now is not the MVP. He's not. He might get there by the end of the season. But as it sits right now, I don't think anybody's looking at this season and go, Mahomes is an MVP.
I think he's been impressive based on the talent he has around him.
So what if Tyreek Hill? Tyreek Hill right now has 814 yards of receiving. A.J. Brown, who's had a pretty good year too, he's at 672. If Tyreek Hill were to break Megatron's record of receiving yards in a single season, in my opinion, I think he should be the MVP, because you guys talked about, well, if you take Tua and put him in Kansas City, you take Patrick Mahomes, put him in Miami. If you take Tyreek Hill off of that Miami team, is Tua as good? Is that team as good?
No, he's not. No.
So isn't the MVP of that specific team Tyreek Hill?
Absolutely.
So I would throw.
No question.
Honestly, I would put him in my top 3.
I'm not going to push back on that. That's how big of a difference Tyreek Hill makes each and every week. When you don't defend him like the Chargers didn't, you saw what happened. When you have a horrible game plan like the Giants did with Tyreek, you saw what happened. If you have a really good game plan like the Patriots had against Tyreek Hill, they still won the game fairly easily. Tyreek Hill is the ultimate difference maker. I agree. I think Tyreek would be a better MVP than Tua from Miami, if you're going that route.
Whatever.
Third down. Spitting truth.
Which first place team is likely to slip as the year progresses?
Which first place team?
Well, I look at the obvious one for me is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But but is it obvious? Because that division's terrible.
Who they slip into?
That's what I'm saying. So
that would be the one, though.
That would be the one, because if you look at the AFC South, I just don't, now with the injuries in Indianapolis, I don't see anybody, catching Jaguars. Although, you never know, C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans, they're one win, one loss away from being tied in that division. So I don't know.
And they beat Jacksonville.
Maybe it's Jacksonville.
A used drum a couple of weeks ago. I still think that it's Tampa just playing the odds. The Dolphins at 5-1. I picked them to win the AFC East, so I'm not gonna sit here and say, well, it's them. I also picked Baltimore to win the AFC North. I picked the Jaguars to win the AFC South. I picked the Chiefs to win the AFC West. Moving on, Eagles. I picked them. I did not pick the Lions. I picked the Packers, but the Lions are so far superior in that division that I'm not going to change my mind. And I picked the 49ers to win the NFC West. That's the only division, the NFC South, where I had the Saints. And the Saints are 3-3. The Bucs are 3-2. The Falcons are 3-3. So, if you're going to play the odds on this one, it's got to be the Bucs.
I think if I were to pick a team not in the AFC or NFC South, you mentioned the Baltimore Ravens. I'm not really confident with the way they've been playing lately. I could see them potentially slipping as the year progresses, especially if Lamar Jackson, for some reason, gets hurt like he has in the past.
Yeah.
And then Joe Burrow and the Bengals start to heat up like we've seen in the past. I could see them slipping. But obviously there's a lot of time left. So
if Cleveland had an offense, they would be interesting. If Cleveland still had Nick Chubb and Deshaun Watson was merely playing average football, healthy and playing average football, Cleveland would be really interesting, because that defense is one of the best in the league. Cincinnati will not beat Cleveland. They have all kinds of trouble with him. That front four just destroys Joe Burrow. So I like Cleveland better than Cincinnati. The problem is Cleveland's offense is just is doo-doo.
Don't forget the Steelers, too. Somehow they're 3-2.
Yeah, no, we won't at all forget the Steelers at all. They were my wild card team. My last wild card team.
4th down.
Speaking of terrible offense.
Yeah, they are. They're bad, Anthony. Which division will have the tightest race down the stretch?
Wow. I think you have to go right back to the AFC North. The Ravens, to me, are the best team, but Marsh, you're right. They're not playing like the best team right now. The Steelers, there's an argument to be made that, actually, there's not. The Cleveland Browns, there's an argument to be made that the Browns have the best defense in that division, if not the conference. But they don't play. They're flawed because of their offense, like we just talked about. The Bengals, I think they're smoke and mirrors this season. They scored 3 points last week against Seattle. Had every opportunity to lose that one. I know a lot of people are like, well, Joe Burrow's back. Okay.
He is.
All right. So, Pittsburgh, with that offense.
So that's your answer, that division?
I think it's that division, yeah.
Mine's easy.
What do you got?
NFC South. Nobody wants that division.
They all want it.
But the question was, where's the tightest race going to be?
It's probably that one.
It's right there.
Yeah.
3-2 Buccaneers, 3-3 Falcons, 3-3 Saints. The Panthers are nowhere in this thing, but those three teams might just bat it around until the end of the season.
That's true. Each week there's a new team.
It's just something I'm
Each
telling
week
you.
there's a new team. Yep. All right. It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. That was your NFL 4 downs. We just talked to Jeremy Rutherford about Dalibor Dvorsky, the first round pick of the Blues this past draft. He's heading to the OHL and Sudbury, Jamie's old stomping grounds. What does this mean for Dvorsky? What does this mean for the Blues? We get Jamie's thoughts on this next on 101 ESPN.
Are you in the market for replacement windows? Well, please head over to Window World. My friends over there are going to help you. They're also the preferred window of your St. Louis Blues. Here are a couple things you need to know about Window World. They are one of 2 windows with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. Also, ranked #1 in number of windows sold in the country by Qualified Remodeler Magazine. What makes them so special? Well, first off, it's a customer service. They are fantastic at making sure that you are taken care of and that you are satisfied with everything that goes on, from the removal of your old windows to the installation of your new windows. The next thing that makes them great is they sell a fantastic window. They sell a double-strength glass that gives it a strength not commonly used in replacement windows. They also back that up with the lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. They also are offering 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. So please pick up the phone, call them, tell them Jamie Rivers sent you. That number is 314-993-1800, 314-993-1800, or look them up at windowworld.com.
The situation in Sweden just wasn't a good one for him. Dvorsky last year played in the second highest league in Sweden, and this past summer he signed to play with the top league. And it's a men's league, and they got off to a bad start, 2-8. They've got to win. It's a business. He wasn't playing his last 2 games for them. He played a minute 35 and 44 seconds for his total ice time in those 2 games. So I think J.P. Barry's agent and the Blues' Doug Armstrong and Tim Taylor, the player development guy for the Blues, they were all in consultation, and it would be best to go to Sudbury, which is the team that drafted him in the import draft in 2022. So I think it's big picture. It's going to be a good thing. He's going to be playing in North America on the smaller ice, getting a chance to develop with Sudbury.
That was our Blues insider with the Athletic, Jeremy Rutherford, who joined us earlier today in the Fast Lane. And we were talking about Dalibor Dvorsky and the situation where the young man finds himself now in Sudbury, playing with the Wolves, Jamie's old stomping grounds, team that he loved playing for at one point in his career. What does this mean now for Dvorsky, the first pick for the Blues in the first round?
Well, here's a couple things that we got to make sure that we talk about. First off is it's not the way he had originally selected is not the traditional route for young prospects. A lot of them come over and play junior hockey in Canada. They're at the World Junior Championship. They get picked up in the international draft, all that stuff. You try to get them to North America if playing in the NHL is what they want. Mm-hmm. Now, it has happened where guys play a couple of years in their country in their professional league. So like JR said, it's not just a men's league, it's pro hockey. It's the highest level of hockey in Sweden. Now, last year he tore it up in the second division. He gets signed to play in the first division. And I'll tell you this, from playing over in Europe in 3 different places, the 18-year-olds never play. Like, they just don't. Like, in Russia, we had 2 players on our team that dressed for every single game and never played a shift all season long. It's like a rite of passage thing. They practice every day with the team. They travel, they do everything, except they just don't get to play. They sit on the bench, which is weird. It's really weird. But same thing in Switzerland. So the fact that he wasn't getting ice time is not rare for the way they do things over there. Mm-hmm. It's rare for us, and it's certainly not the best way for the Blues to develop a young star. You need ice, you need reps, you need game action. So it's great that cooler heads prevailed, that the team over in Sweden said that, look, we understand it's not the greatest setup for him right now. We understand that you guys want him to develop, and we're fine with kind of parting ways and letting him go off and play in North America. So now cue the actual transfer over to the OHL. The Sudbury Wolves sit in 3rd place right now in the Central Division. They got a good team this year. They got a good team. And why is that important? Because that means they're probably going to make the playoffs, which means extended time to play and develop for Dalibor Dvorsky.
Huge.
Couple other things. The Sudbury market is very much like a pro market. It's a small town, 350, 400,000 people. The rink is sold out every friggin' night, and you're in front of the cameras. The media, the social media, the papers, like you name it, you're a big deal in that town. So it's great for the maturation of the player, too. You learn how to deal with certain things. There's also a certain amount of pressure and expectation put on the player, which he probably wasn't getting that because he was the youngest guy on the team. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say he was irrelevant, but his position on that team in Sweden was irrelevant. So nobody looked at him as the difference maker. Now he's going to be the difference maker. Sudbury Wolves GM Rob Papineau already on record saying that he's going to be on our first line, he's going to be on the power play, like he's going to drive the bus offensively for us. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. He's going to get quality ice time. Now, is he playing against younger players? Will that be a little more of an advantage to him? Well, yeah, but when you're developing a player, you also want a certain level of success for that player. It can't all be running uphill.
Yeah, right.
Seriously.
No, I think it's a great point.
How many times can you get kicked in the balls over and over?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd rather have some successes here too.
You do have to have some success along the way. I mean, it's just that little bit that keeps you going. I think, Jamie, that's a fantastic point, because if you're constantly getting kicked, it really doesn't matter if you're tough and you got grit and all that. That is important. But if you don't have some small success along the way to recharge the batteries, it does make for a longer development process, I think, because you're always focused on the negative.
Well, it can stunt the development, too. It can actually slow down the progress.
I can see that.
Loses confidence and then starts doing things out of character.
Right.
So, anyways, Doug Armstrong put out a statement today regarding the situation, and here is the quote from our general manager and president of hockey operations. Doug Armstrong goes on to say, after evaluating Dalibor's situation in Sweden and talking with him and his representatives, we jointly decided that the opportunity to play regular minutes Sudbury against his peer group in the OHL would be the best thing for his development at this time. We look forward to watching his continued growth as a player.
Perfect.
And another thing, you've got way more access to him. I know the Blues have scouts and people over in Sweden, specifically Alex Steen is over there, but Alex Steen can't be there all the time. This way here, you can have scouts almost at every single game, watching him, evaluating him. He's sending a report to the team. There's certain cities where when they go to play in the Toronto area, there's like 3-4 teams in that area. You can send in Army, can go watch 3-4 games in a row of Dalibor Dvorsky, and you can be in constant contact with the player on the good, and mostly the good. Nobody ever comes down. I can tell you, I was drafted at 18. Nobody comes down to your game to tell you how crappy you are unless you're really, really crappy. They want to build on the positives. They come down and say, hey, like the way you played that first period, like the power play, like your physicality, whatever. Hey, looking forward to seeing you again and, in the next city, blah, blah, blah. It's always stuff like that because you want to keep this player, moving forward. Every now and then, you get a situation where it's not always great, but those are few and far between. But for me, it's the touches that you have available to you now. And I mean, like the visual for the scouts and the player physically getting the touches of the puck on the ice. You got good coaching staff up in Sudbury. It's a very competitive league, and this is going to be great for him. It's going to be great. He's going to love playing there. It's going to feel like he's playing pro hockey, and the team being good is going to create a really good buzz around that team and around this player.
That's Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. We have What's Trending next.
Save money on your car and your home insurance with Allstate and Tracy Bibb with the Bibb Agency. Tracy and her representatives, they offer you the personal attention that you deserve from your agent. And there's no worse feeling, and I talked to a lot of people about this, than having a situation where you require your insurance agent and your provider to help you out, to walk you through what's going on, and they're not available. They're not available because it's a 1-800 number and they don't know who you are. And if you have to call back, we get somebody different every single time. That's not the way it works with Tracy Bibb and the Bibb Agency. Someone from the Bibb Agency is there to help you, walk you through it, provide you with whatever information is needed. If you've lost your insurance card, they send that to you. It really does make a huge difference. I know I've had a couple of situations myself and my children driving, all of that stuff. I always feel a lot more calm and certainly safer knowing that Tracy Bibb and the Bibb Agency is there for us. And she can be there for you, too. It's quick and easy. Just call her at 314-328-4260. That's 314-328-4260. It's no fib. You're in good hands with Tracy Bibb.
Going on in the world of sports? The Fast Lane has you covered with what's trending now.
Brought to you by Goodwill. Donate to Goodwill and get a Lion's Choice sandwich coupon.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN. Anthony Stalter, Jamie Rivers. I'm Andrew Marsh, and it's time for What's Trending. Gentlemen, we talked about this at the beginning of the show, but Yadi Molina maybe perhaps expressing interest in being a part of the Cardinals coaching staff. This was an interview that was conducted in Puerto Rico. Yadi Molina said, I had the opportunity when I went to see Adam Wainwright a couple of weeks ago to sit down with management, and a few points were talked about. He then added, we hope that if something happens, it will happen soon, and if not, then I would be still willing to continue helping them. When they need me while I'm here in Puerto Rico, they have the knowledge of my willingness to take position in management or the coaching staff. I wanted to talk with you guys about the idea if Yadi were to become a coach on this staff. A lot of people think that maybe he should be the head coach instead of, or not the head coach, but the manager yep. instead of Ali Marmol. Obviously, Molina was a manager for Puerto Rico in the World Baseball Classic. Let's just...
How'd that go?
Well, they lost.
Yeah. See? I want a winner here.
Well, they also lost their best pitcher in Edwin
he overthrew
Perez.
the guy.
Oh, I'm sorry, Edwin Diaz. Oh, come on.
I'm just
make one mistake.
But relax. Anthony, relax.
You relax.
No, you're
okay?
all fired up. You're looking at me like
fired
a crazy man. What the hell's your problem?
What's your problem?
I don't know. Well, how much time you got? And it's not even just you. I got lots of problems, Anthony.
Since we've been playing hypotheticals all day long, and it seems like the fan base likes playing hypotheticals as well. If Yadi were to become a manager or just take a position on the coaching staff, does that help or hurt his legacy here in St. Louis?
No, it can't be hurt.
Oh, well, what if he really sucks at his job?
Can't be hurt. His legacy is cemented.
I agree with you.
Cardinals.
But let's just talk for a second.
Let's just walk down the road real quick.
Anthony, walk with me.
Interlocking
fingers for sure. Mm-hmm. It's way better that way.
Sure.
There was a catcher here. He's a really good player. Mm-hmm. A damn good catcher. Helped develop Yadier Molina. Went on to become the manager, and some would say half the fan base doesn't think highly of him anymore. So it tarnished his legacy to come back and be the manager. That guy we know is Mike Matheny.
Sure.
Mike Matheny, I know him personally, is a really good dude.
Yes, agree.
Really great family man. His family's awesome. He was an incredible baseball player, a great catcher, a great teacher of the game. But the way he managed and the way things went down as a manager, I would say it tarnished his legacy for some people here in St. Louis.
I agree with that statement. I agree with everything you just said, especially the fact that Mike's a good man. Yadi's not Mike, and he had a very different career, in my opinion.
I don't disagree with that.
So-
Yadi's career eclipses Mike Matheny's.
Yes.
But you understand my point.
I do. I think it would take more to tarnish Yadi's career than it did with Mike as a manager, especially with the way certain things went down each year. And this wasn't all Mike Matheny, by the way. This is front office. The team got worse, too. But you think about World Series appearance in 2013, NLCS in 2014, NLDS in 15, wild card in 16, no playoffs for the next 3. Like, it just got worse each and every year. But with Yadi, I think there's so much built-in respect and, worship is strong. But, like, Cardinals fans really he is beloved here.
Totally.
So I think it would take a lot to tarnish his legacy.
Okay, we're still walking, right?
Still walking.
Hands interlocking?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course.
Let's rewind to Yadi's last year here, the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
What if Yadi takes a coaching job of some capacity and then takes 4 or 5 sabbaticals throughout the season? He's got to go back to Puerto Rico for a family reason. He's got to go back for his basketball team, or he's just tired. He's tuckered out. He wants to go here. He's got other, now what?
With him being the manager? Just coaching?
Just coaching.
Just coaching.
He's on the staff. He's supposed to be in the dugout every night. He's supposed to be a part of this club.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, these sabbaticals pop up because of other things that he's got going on.
I think that's part of the risk. I think you have outlined that very well, Jamie, from the jump here. Since we talked about it last week with the Martin Kilcoyne report, you've been all over this. You're like, how? This is a huge investment. Jamie, you have been... You could be a coach in the NHL right now. You could. You could be an assistant coach with some team right now in the NHL. You know the hours because you've had to look at it.
Yeah.
You've had to look at how much the time commitment would be just to be an assistant coach at the NHL level.
Yeah.
How much time do I have to put in to that job?
It's insanity how much you have to do.
And you, like Yadi, have other interests. You have multiple jobs. Obviously, you wouldn't be doing the radio and the TV gig if you're an assistant coach for an NHL team. But you still have multiple businesses that you've poured your heart and soul into. So Yadi, owning a basketball team in Puerto Rico, you've made your home here in St. Louis, but your home is also in Canada. He's got strong ties, obviously, to his home country in Puerto Rico. So, in other words, I think you have really outlined the Yadier Molina situation here, which plays into what I've been saying about we don't have enough information here. I think Cardinals fans are excited because this is the one bit of positive news that Cardinals fans have had really since April, and they're embracing it, and I love it. But I think we need to pump the brakes because we just don't have the information. Is he going to be a coach? Is he going to be a consultant? Is he going to be how much? When he says, Marsh read off the quote, the Cardinals know my willingness when it comes to accepting a manager position or whatever he said, manager. We don't know what that means.
And would the Cardinals at some point make him the manager, but surround him with nothing but worker bees?
Yeah.
So that Yadi can show up at the field at 2:00 in the afternoon.
The other thing that we haven't talked about with Yadi, let's walk with me here.
I never let go of your hand.
No. Okay, so we're still walking.
Not yet.
The other...
It's getting a little sweaty, but fine.
Well, two big guys here. We're walking a lot. When it comes to Yadi, this is... Part of the job is to work with the media. Ooh. And Major League Baseball managers are put through the grinder more so than any other sport. NFL head coaches have to talk to the media immediately after the game, and they have to talk to the media, at least once or twice throughout the course of the week. When it comes to Major League managers, before every game, they face the media. After every game, they face the media. 162 games. You do the math on this.
And what if things aren't going good? Yadi gets a little testy sometimes, even when he's just coming off a good game.
Certainly. He's incredibly passionate. He's incredibly competitive.
Yep.
I don't know if that is part of the job that he would relish.
So I'm going to go back to my original thought on this. Is yes, any staff that can include Yadi or Molina is a better staff. Place him accordingly to where he's a consultant. So now he can come and go as he pleases throughout the season. When he's in town, he's in the dugout with your guys. And he can go out of town. We'll call it scouting, recruiting in Puerto Rico. I don't care. He can go back home for 2 weeks. Call it recruiting. Again, Yadi's went back home to recruit. Oh, he's at his basketball game. Yeah, I understand, but that was just one night. He's still doing work for us. You know, we're really looking to expand the international market for us here in St. Louis. And Yadi would do that, by the way. That would expand the level of interest from some of the international players, knowing that Yadi or Molina is on board.
And that's an area where the Cardinals have lacked.
They have lacked tremendously in that area. So, again, I go back to a consultant. It's helping the pitching coach, helping the catching position, helping the team recruit. Overall, I think that is the best possible case scenario for Yadi or Molina.
Two things I'll say. We got a text from the Air Comfort Service text line. John Elway, a good example about how Denver fans feel about him when he played versus what he's doing now.
Anthony loves him.
I do not. That's why you said that.
He's a pretty good dude, though.
I'm sure he is.
He had an Elway's Steakhouse in Denver, and he went to dinner with us eons ago, and he was a pretty good dude.
Second thing.
Big teeth.
You look at Adam Wainwright this past year.
Yeah.
Obviously, his season wasn't something that he wanted.
Sure.
And I think the fans could say the same thing. We saw not every fan, but there's a lot of fans, especially on Twitter, that were sort of fed up with Waino. So I feel like it's a small portion of the fan base, but if something were to go wrong, let's say during Yadi's tenure as manager, coach, whatever, management, I feel like some people maybe would not care that he had all this time and played all these years and did great things.
Sure.
It's just a small portion, but
yeah. I guess it just depends on how bad the car wreck would be. You know?
Hey, we got time for one more quick thing here.
Yeah, I was going to bring something up, but if you have something, go for it.
It might be the same thing. I don't know.
Does it have anything to do with James Harden?
No. No. Maybe this could be part of our biggest question of the day. I don't know if we want to get into it now or later. Just the reports coming out regarding Caleb Williams and that he wants to be part owner. For whatever team drafts him, he wants partial ownership of the team.
What?
Several media outlets reporting it. I don't know how you want to unpack that, but I do think there's a discussion there.
Let's get into it.
By the way, James Harden did not show up at practice today.
That's what's trending here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Yeah, let's get into this. I mean, let's just kind of do the whole Twitter thing. First blush reactions on this. Next on 101 ESPN.
Anthony, I've said this before. Getting old sucks. It's not fun for anybody, especially, like, I played a long time in the NHL. The body's sore. It's old. It's decrepit. And then, you know what? We're getting older. The testosterone, it's inevitable that it starts to lower. And that doesn't feel good. You feel more tired, depressed. You got anxiety. Now, I was tired of it, so I went and saw our friends at Mentality. And they're awesome. Sat down with a board-certified physician and just answered all their questions, told them what I was experiencing. They did a blood panel. I feel incredible now. I'm on a program now weekly. I'm in there talking with them and getting my program taken care of. I feel amazing. Best decision I've ever made.
Well, and you dragged me down there, and when I said drag, you dragged me in there. Yeah, a little weird at first, but then it felt comfortable because mentality was there, and they asked all the same questions they asked you to me. I gave them a lot of the same responses you did. Feeling down, feeling no energy. I think the biggest thing that I've noticed outside of just the workouts, a lot of times I'm like, am I not putting enough weight on here? And all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, this
you go.
Feel good.
Buff.
Jamie, doing the same thing. But one of the things that I've really noticed is that you're not drinking coffee 24/7. I'm not slamming the energy drinks here at 101 ESPN. The energy level is steady, too. We're not talking about big crash or a big spike, then crash. The energy level, perfect. Mood, stabilized. Feel great inside the gym. Feel great outside of the gym. Get down there. Do something about it. If you're feeling the same way, mentality can help.
Yeah, it absolutely can. And it'll help you, whether it's at work, your home life, the kids, the bedroom, you name it. Success is on the way. But you got to go see them. Tell them you saw Anthony and Jamie, and we told you about it. But if not, visit them at lowtusa.com. That's mentality, lowtusa.com.
It's time for the Fast Lane's biggest question of the day.
All right, time for the biggest question of the day here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Here's Andrew Marsh.
And here's Jamie Rivers.
Yeah, so
that's right. Jamie technically
that was the
question.
double reverse. I liked it, boys. Seems to be working a lot in the NFL.
Reverse card.
By the way, real quick, I said that the 49ers don't play, but they do. They play on Monday night against
They play the Vikings.
Vikings. My bad on that.
Did you get your picks in yet?
I'm doing them right now. That's why I saw that.
I did that too.
My bad.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Jamie.
All right. So Caleb Williams, last year's Heisman Trophy winner, and certainly in the discussion, at least up until this point, or until last week, for the Heisman this year. He's kind of a no doubt can't miss number one overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
However, there have been some developments in recent weeks that make me wonder if that might change. And those developments are being reported about a month ago. Reported that Caleb Williams would consider staying in college if the Arizona Cardinals ended up being the number one pick overall. And then it came out that he had a list that he had submitted of teams that he would play for and not leave college for. Well, fast forward to today, and it's being reported by several media outlets, reputable outlets, that Caleb Williams wants partial ownership of whatever NFL team drafts him. Guys, who is coaching this kid? Right, like what agent is in this guy's ear? Because I'm looking at it, and yes, he's a very good player, but there have been better generational players than Caleb Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And am I crazy? I guess the biggest question of the day that I have is all of these things that he's saying or that are leaking out, can this affect his draft position?
Yes, absolutely it can. Jamie, if you're an owner, this is pretty easy, right? This one's pretty easy. You want ownership in my team. Why? Why should I give you ownership in my team? You haven't played it down for me. I don't know if you can play. I've seen a lot of good players. Bryce Young won a Heisman and a national title. You won a Heisman. You've been nowhere close to a title. You haven't even played a playoff game. Probably won't play one this year. You're going to make the big leap to the NFL. And you want ownership of my team. I haven't even seen you play. What's in it for me? What, I get your rights as a player? I could take one of these other quarterbacks and not have to worry about this. And he's got a list. We've seen this work. We've seen this work for other quarterbacks. We mentioned them, the two of them earlier. John Elway worked for. Eli worked for. But if you're a team right now in the NFL and you're looking at this, I'm balking. I am. I'm saying this has got trouble written all over it. This reminds me a lot of the Ball family. You had Lonzo Ball. What was the dad's name? LeVar.
What I call him, Le'Veon. I called him earlier.
Yeah.
My goodness. Le'Veon Bell.
LeVar Ball came out and he was
Le'Veon Ball.
I know. I got them all mixed up there. My bad.
I've got these sons that are going to be, they're going to transcend the NBA and all
We had
that.
a shoe release before any of them even went pro.
Right. Yeah, the three ballers, whatever, and he's charging $485 a soul.
And they were falling apart.
And they're falling apart. Like,
I used to watch their the reality show. It was called Ball in the Family.
That couldn't have been good.
It actually was pretty entertaining.
Really?
I swear it was. I mean, LeVar Ball was such an entertaining person, whether you liked him or not. I feel like he did a fantastic job at marketing his kids.
Well, he did.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
But then at the end of the day, the shoes fell apart.
He did.
Know?
Yeah.
So did their game.
And so did the game, yeah. I mean, LaMelo's okay.
He's good.
He's okay. Was he hurt last year? Lonzo's been...
He'll be out,
but
I believe, all season long.
He said that they were going to be better than Kobe.
Yeah, and all that.
Come on, man.
You could tell what he was doing there. But it kind of has that feel to it, where it's like, you are selling me and then asking me for money. Like, you're selling me nothing or little to nothing, and you're asking high dollar for it.
Yeah. Well, to put it in perspective, when Aaron Rodgers got traded to the Jets, Aaron Rodgers attempted to secure equity through his contract with the ownership group and with the New York Jets.
Yeah.
He wanted to become part of the ownership group. They said no. Aaron Rodgers got no.
Mm-hmm.
He's multiple MVPs.
Yes.
I mean, he's
Super
the guy.
Bowl
He's
winner.
the franchise now.
Mm-hmm.
You traded for him because he is now your Joe Namath. He is your franchise.
Yeah.
And you
got
said
the old
no.
NO. Yeah.
So Caleb Williams, I just don't know. I don't like the approach. If you want to start pushing some things and marketing some things, maybe go after some endorsement type things.
Yeah.
I don't like a player saying they won't go to a certain team.
I don't either.
It doesn't always backfire, but I feel like it does backfire.
Well, you put yourself you right away. You're already putting yourself above several teams.
Well, imagine then you go to a team that does draft you, and they're like all these veteran guys who maybe have championships, maybe have played the decade, and they're looking at this kid like, who the hell do you think you are?
Right.
Like maybe he's the next Zach Wilson.
Right.
Now what?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he isn't. Maybe he's the next.
But
I don't know.
that's the point, right? We don't know, Jamie.
Don't know.
We don't know. And you want ownership?
Especially recently, the quarterback position, so many college quarterbacks coming out that are highly touted, and it never translates to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Even guys like Justin Fields are still struggling. Zach Wilson. The list of guys who have been top 10 quarterback picks in the NFL over the last 20 years, that list of failures is twice the length of the successes.
Absolutely. The other thing, too, to think about, if he's doing this now, when he's already making a bunch of money through NIL, and that's fine. I got no issue with that. If somebody's willing to pay you for your image or your likeness, fantastic, great, line up, cool. But what's the contract situation going to be when he gets to the NFL? What if he has a good rookie year?
Well, now he's holding out.
Yeah, does he want to tear up the rookie contract? That would be my concern, too. And the number one benefit in the NFL for a team, I've always said this, is getting a good quarterback and a rookie deal. Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. Now, Brandon Staley screwed that up before they paid Herbert, but Joe Burrow, they were able to build around him. Mahomes, they're able to build around him. Spend that cap space on players that are going to help him before having to pay him. Because once you pay the QB, it becomes a different ballgame. So I wouldn't like the uncertainty that comes with a Caleb Williams situation like this.
And look, he's a really good player, but I just don't know where he ranks at this point. And I guess the last thing I'll say about this is that some of this, or all of it, may be none of his doing as well.
Yeah, maybe he's getting some bad advice.
And he may not even have a say in it. Maybe this stuff is just being released and talked about by the agency that's representing him or his parents. Heaven forbid that they would do something like that without actually talking to their son. So I'm not going to point the finger there.
Right.
But if that's the case where he doesn't have a say over what is being leaked out, that's really bad for the player.
I agree.
So overall, I don't get the good feel about this player right now. I just don't. If this stuff is coming out, it's because there is some truth to it. And if that's the case, man, I just don't know. It's not like I would overlook him in the draft, but
yeah, you just.
I think I would challenge him. I think if I was the Arizona Cardinals, I mean, he would have to declare for the draft anyways.
Yeah.
But I think if I was the Cardinals and I didn't end up being the number one pick, I think I'd have a side deal with whoever it is and say, hey, listen, let's swap picks. I'm not trying to screw you over.
Yeah.
We're going to teach this kid a lesson.
Oh.
And we're going to draft him. So he's already declared for the draft. We're going to trade. And at the last second, I'm going up there and I'm calling his name.
Oh, boy.
I dare you not to come up here.
Well, the Chargers did it. The Chargers did to Eli.
I know.
And that, I mean, I like Eli, but his whole draft moment there when he's holding up the Chargers,
it's awesome.
It is. You're right.
How does that work, though, for a team because I don't remember any of this. I mean, I remember it happening, but I don't know the ins and outs of it. What happens if, say, the Cardinals do draft him, he doesn't want to play there? Do they get a compensation pick for that?
No, you're out.
No, you're out.
Out.
But so is the player.
Yep.
Player's out, too. No money being made there.
Yeah, you can't.
So can't go back to college either.
Nope.
Welcome to the XFL, Caleb Williams.
As soon as
someone can pick him up, though.
No, but you own his rights. It's like the NHL. When you draft a guy, you have his rights for. Yeah.
Well, how did Eli get out of that?
Well, he forced his way.
So the
Chargers traded with the Giants. They swapped picks. And then I think the Chargers got a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, they got draft
picks. They got Phillip Rivers. Yeah. The Giants took Phillip Rivers, who the Chargers wanted. The Chargers were okay with. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'll tell you the exact details here.
We got
that up. We got the goggle machine that we can look at.
It's the same thing. You own his rights for a certain amount of time.
So you essentially could, just pick him, and then he's like, well, I'm not going to play here. You're like, okay, great. Well, then don't play.
Where do you want to play? I'll trade you to them.
And then whoever wants him, then you can then shop him to whatever team.
Yes.
Yeah, and ask for a king's ransom in return.
So I'd be drafting him anyways.
Yeah, but you have to be cagey about it. You have to make sure he's declared.
And here's the thing, though. The thing is, though, I don't think he would. I think he'd go back to college.
Well, then
if they are the.
I don't think you can. Oh yeah, you can before you declare. Yes.
Yeah.
So here you go. The Chargers selected Manning with the first overall pick. The Giants then. Let's see, whereby the Giants would draft and then trade Phillip Rivers and a 2004 third-round pick used to select place kicker Nate Kading, a 2005 first-round pick, and that was used to select Sean Merriman, a 2005 fifth-round pick. So that's what they got. They got Phillip Rivers, a third-round pick, a first-round pick, and a fifth-round pick, all for taking Eli Manning, knowing the Giants wanted him. I mean, that's the play.
Yeah.
Like Jamie's talking about.
Yeah.
You're the Cardinals, you take him. He goes up there, he ain't happy. All right, no problem, kid. We're going to be working the phones. We could see a repeat of the Eli Manning situation on draft night. if Caleb Williams does come out. All right, interesting stuff. It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. We'll do a Stalter Stackup. I got a team in the top 10 that it took me a while to type it out. Marsh even went, whoa.
Oh, boy.
That's next on 101 ESPN.
If you're throwing a party, I have to help you out. Head over to Dirt Cheap St. Louis's one-stop party shop. They've got great selection in there. They got a friendly staff, and they've got great prices. Dirt Cheap is absolutely the place to go for all your needs, whether it's beer, wine, gin, vodka, or the bourbon. That's mine. They've got great selections in bourbon. They've got Jack Daniels, Elijah Craig, so many great bourbons to choose from. Also, did you know that Dirt Cheap has a number of drive-through locations that let you stock up on your favorite stuff without having to leave the comfort of your own car? Yeah, they do. And how do you access that? You can download the Dirt Cheap app, order your stuff, and then drive through and pick it up. It's a very convenient way to get a hold of all your favorite alcohols. So please remember that Dirt Cheap is the best place to go. It's got the best selection. It certainly has some of the greatest prices. Get over there, visit them, tell them Jamie Rivers sent you in, ask them about my favorite bourbon. They'll tell you all about it. So please visit Dirt Cheap, and remember, have fun, but be careful out there.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Phillies defeated the Diamondbacks last night by a final score of 10-0. They take a 2-0 series lead in the NLCS. Tonight we have Game 3 between the Rangers and the Astros as the Texas Rangers lead that series 2-0. Pregame starts at 6:30. You can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. The Blues will take on the Arizona Coyotes tomorrow. Pregame starts at 6. Puck drop is at 7. You can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. We also talked with Craig Berube and Jeremy Rutherford. If you missed those interviews, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or use the free 101 mobile app. You can find it all there. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. We'll have the full show there as well. So if you're on the YouTube page, brought to you by Aaron's Alliance team, and you missed, I don't know, maybe something Jamie Rivers said about Dalibor Dvorsky, you can check it out on the podcast. We have the Stalter Stackup coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by
Saliga
Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. It's time for the Stalter Stackup. The top 10 teams in the NFL from the mind of Anthony Stalter.
All right, let's dive into this. This is kind of an interesting week because we had the upsets of the 49ers and the Eagles. So, how difficult was it to do the Stalter Stackup? Let's get into it.
Okay, number one.
All right. I still got the 49ers. You can't convince me that the 49ers still aren't the best team in the league. They lost Christian McCaffrey last week. They lost Deebo Samuel during the game. Weather, bad. Cleveland's pass rush, outstanding. Cleveland's also got kind of the magic elixir to the outside zone run that Kyle Shanahan likes to run. You set up the DNs out wide, that wide 9 technique. You take away the run, and you really force a lot of the passing game to come into play. When you don't have McCaffrey, you don't have Samuel, it's huge. If those guys are healthy and they play Minnesota next Monday, they'll be right on track. Plus, if Moody makes the kick, we're not even talking about this. We're still talking about an undefeated team. So I got the 49ers number 1.
That wide 9 is really effective.
You're darn right it is.
Especially when it's done properly.
Number 2.
Well said. I acknowledge that the Philadelphia Eagles have some issues here. Offensively, they haven't been firing on all cylinders. Losing Lane Johnson is a significant loss. I still have them at number 2. Things could change dramatically, though, when they host the Miami Dolphins on Sunday Night Football.
Big game, man.
I still love the Eagles' talent. They were also down some corners in that Jets game. You know, we talk about the Jets not having Sauce Gardner, not having DJ Reader. Well, the Eagles were down guys at every level on their defense. They should still win that game. And Jalen Hurts and that offense, they've got to kind of iron some things out here. I think they will, and I think over time, the Eagles will get better each and every week. This matchup coming up is going to be fascinating. But there's a reason why I don't have Miami a little higher. And we'll get to them in a second.
Number 3.
Some people might move Kansas City up to number 1 based on the 49ers and the Eagles losing and the Chiefs being the defending champs. I'm going to leave them right at 3. If you listen to Prove Me Wrong earlier today, we were asked about, me, whether or not I was going to drop the Eagles and the 49ers. One of the reasons why I haven't dropped them is that I'm not in love with a lot of the teams behind them, including Kansas City. You only put 19 points on the board last week against Denver. Worst defense in the league, allowing 30-plus points each and every week. And at Arrowhead, you only score 19. Travis Kelce's been banged up. Andy Reid's not sticking with the run. He's clearly not focused, that Travis Kelce. It's a big problem.
It is.
But they're still the Chiefs. They're still Patrick Mahomes, and they still won. And that defense, as I've talked about each and every week now, that defense is really good. We thought there was going to be a problem. It's been the one thing that, honestly, the biggest thing that has allowed them to be 5-1 to this point. Now, they got the Chargers coming into town. This is an interesting matchup. Another one that you circle and say, okay, let's see how Kansas City does against this Chargers defense, which has got some issues too. But I got the Chiefs at 3.
Number 4.
I got the Dolphins at 4. And the reason I have the Dolphins at 4 and not higher is I'm still not impressed with the defense. I thought this was going to be a much improved defense coming into the league. Thus far, we haven't really seen it. So we got an Eagles offense that is not necessarily struggling, but again, it's not firing on all cylinders like we saw a year ago, Jamie. And then we got Miami, which can be had both on the ground and through the air. Jalen Ramsey practiced today. I wonder if he comes back. If he comes back, this defense can look a hell of a lot different in a couple of weeks. But for now, Miami's got to play defense a lot better than they have. The offense is a juggernaut. And I love the Dolphins' offense for a variety of reasons. Obviously we have Tyreek and a very accurate Tua. Raheem Mostert had a couple of big touchdowns last week. Jalen Waddle, they've got it all. They're also they know who they are too. They don't have to change anything. There's no 2-minute offense for Miami. That is their two. The whole offense is the 2-minute offense. So Miami, I have at number 4.
5.
I got the Lions. I'm still probably not paying enough respect to Jamie's Detroit Lions. Man,
I would have had them at 3.
They're outstanding.
I would have had them at 3.
I thought about it, and I don't even know if I've got enough reasons to have them here outside of the fact that they haven't really beaten a murderous row of teams yet. Kansas City, outstanding win.
The teams that have been on their schedule.
They lost to Seattle. Then they shut down Atlanta. They beat Green Bay. Carolina they whipped, and Tampa Bay they shut down. So they've got 3 wins thus far against the NFC South. Still, the Lions, especially that defensive front, which was the defense was a problem last year. The defensive front is nasty for the Lions. Aaron Glenn's going to get himself a head coaching job at some point if it keeps up with the Lions. And Jared Goff, he's had some struggles on the road throughout his career. He ended that last week with his efficient play. Sam Laporta, the rookie out of Highland, here locally, excellent. Amon-Ra St. Brown came back. Can they run the ball? They lost David Montgomery. Gibbs has been banged up. Their other running backs have been banged up. If you don't have that semblance of balance with your offense, that can be a little tricky. When you're up in games, you want to be running the ball in the fourth quarter. Look at what happened to the Chargers last year in Jacksonville in the playoff game. They couldn't run the ball. You couldn't eat up the clock. They were forced to kind of throw, and Jacksonville came right back. So that would be a thing that you have to look out for Detroit. Otherwise, man, they're off to about as good of a start as anybody in the league.
Number 6.
I dropped Buffalo. I think one spot. That was just a pitiful performance for them against the Giants. Yeah, they won, but the Giants had every opportunity, literally, to win the game late, and that was Tyrod Taylor and company. How did the Giants, who'd they play on that Monday night? San Francisco? It wasn't San Francisco. It was Seattle. It was Seattle. A couple of weeks ago, they played Seattle on a Monday night. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And Daniel Jones got sacked 72 times. That same offensive line was in front of Tyrod Taylor, and Buffalo did nothing. The Bills have issues now defensively because of Matt Milano being out. We talked about this last week. That defense changes a lot with Milano out. He is their best defensive player, and they don't have the corners now. White is out. So the injuries on defense, I think that's problematic. It won't be against the Patriots on Sunday because the Patriots can't score, and they don't want to score. But Buffalo, I think, has got some big issues. That's why I got them at 6, and that's why I dropped them despite the win.
Number 7, thank you.
We keep talking about Cincinnati. A lot of people love the Bengals. They keep moving up. A lot of people are, watch Joe Burrow, watch the Bengals. Here we go. What about Jacksonville? Jacksonville's starting to play a lot better. They went out to London. They'd had 2 wins out there, one against Atlanta, one against Buffalo. They come back. Some people thought that Indy was going to give them a game last week. Jacksonville rolled them. The offense is good. The defense creates havoc. I really like Jacksonville, and I wouldn't be shocked to see them move up this week, depending on what happens with some of these other games. So I got the Jaguars right now at 7.
Number 8.
Marsh, you had asked why I didn't move the Cowboys out of the top 10 last week. One, there's not. I mean, once you kind of get to this 8 spot, there's not a lot of teams that are like, yes, that's definitely, a top 10 team. Dallas, to me, as I described yesterday when I forgot what game we were doing, but I said Dallas is good. They're not great. They are. They're good, but they're not great. You go on the road against the Chargers, you got the bye week coming up. 3-3 looks a hell of a lot different than 4-2. And I thought that was a really good bounce-back game for Dak Prescott. He played efficient. And the other thing that was impressive, they couldn't run the ball. I thought that if you were to tell me Tony Pollard, Jamie, would only have 30 yards on 15 carries, I said Dallas lost then. And instead, Dak played well. Dak won the game where Justin Herbert did not when he had an opportunity to. So I got Dallas number 8, and of course the defense is still good despite their injuries.
Number 9.
I like Baltimore a lot more than most. I know, Jamie, you had them in the Super Bowl. I have them in the Super Bowl. I thought that was a really good performance by their offense outside of the fact that they had to settle for field goals. But they consistently move the ball. And I think when you watch the games, Lamar's playing a lot better than the statistics would indicate. The turnovers, the lack of red zone success, that has been their undoing. Otherwise, I think that this offense is capable of scoring 24, 27, 30 points a game, depending on the defense. Now, they got a big test this week against Detroit. So we'll find a lot about the Lions and Ravens. But for now, after that win on Sunday in London against a bad Tennessee team, but one that's competitive nonetheless, I got Baltimore at number 9.
Number 10.
And this is the one that made Marsh go, whoa. Now, the 10th spot has been the absolute death trap in the Stalter Stackup. I've had different teams at number 10 virtually every week because the team that I picked to at number 10 has been like rolled that same Sunday. So my apologies to Houston against the bye because I got the Houston Texans at number 10, boys.
That's unbelievable.
A lot of people will probably have Cincinnati there. A lot of people might have, I don't know, maybe Jamie's other team, Tampa Bay.
No.
But Tampa Bay didn't look great. Who else are you going to put at 10? The Texans have played really well.
Yeah,
everybody loves C.J. Stroud. The defense is good.
The problem I have with it is they're 500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's half the league, unfortunately.
You're not wrong.
But if you look at it, who else would fit in that spot?
Yeah, it really is the only team that fits. So you could go the Buccaneers just because they've got a division lead, but I do think that Houston Texans right now are more intriguing than the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
I think C.J. Stroud is definitely a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield. He's a better quarterback than most of the guys that are already in this stack up.
Sure. I had Seattle.
Hey, it's fun.
I had Seattle at 10.
It's fun.
And you saw that debacle. So I dropped them. So I got Houston at 10. Will they stay there? Probably not, based on history. But that's my Stalter Stackup. The bottom list, the 10th spot specifically, has been just a real migraine.
Yeah, I don't mind your list. I think based on what we've seen, I would have had the Lions higher. I would have had the Lions at 3, and then just bump everybody down. Chiefs at 4, Dolphins at 5.
The Lions are going to be 2 if they beat the... Oh, they're not playing the Eagles. The Dolphins are playing them.
Lions have a big game this week.
Lions have the Ravens, so...
It's a big game, man.
You've got Eagles being tested this week. The Chiefs are being tested because even though the Chargers have bad coaching, they still have Herbert. The Eagles, the Dolphins are going to be tested. The Chiefs are going to be tested. And the Lions are going to be tested. And you throw the Ravens in that mix, too. Mm-hmm. And you got a huge battle in the NFC South between the Falcons and Bucs, first place. That's a layup, isn't it? Atlanta never beats Tampa. That is a layup, if I've ever seen one.
I don't know. Nothing's a layup in that division, Anthony.
Very true. All right, let's move forward here. What you missed, criticisms, compliments next on 101 ESPN. Fastlane on 101 ESPN. If you missed anything from today's show, you can always download the podcast available at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 ESPN mobile app. It's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. We chatted with the Chief today, talked to him about the scrum involving Braden Shen and Jordan Kyrou. You can hear how he said, yeah, I called for that. At least call for the intensity that led to the scrum, not the actual scrum. Yeah. So the Chief joined us talk about the defense, Colton Parayko's play, just some overall vibes right now with his Blues team. Jeremy Rutherford joined us to talk about Dalibor Dvorsky going to the Sudbury Wolves, and Jamie had a great breakdown on what that means for not only Dvorsky but also the Blues. We did our NFL 4 downs. Talked about Caleb Williams. Interesting story that emerged that apparently he wants ownership in whatever NFL team he goes to. Mm-hmm. So Jamie and I teased on that. We did not like that idea. And also discussed and got a lot of great responses on the text line from Cardinals fans. Discussed, do you even consider trading Nolan Arenado right now if you need, for pitching? And what that would look like. So that's all available at the podcast. What do we got for criticisms and compliments?
Yeah, the 636 wants Drunk Mo to be a permanent segment.
That's right, Drunk. We did the Drunk Mo thing. Let me tell you about you. Just shut your mouth. Yeah, we could do that.
The 636, a different 636, says, I think it's odd you see Mo as a belligerent drunk. I see him as an I love you drunk. That presser would be hugs, kisses, and compliments.
No chance. No chance. Mo's always buttoned up. He's always, like quiet, calm, soft-spoken. We know what happens to people like that. You add alcohol, and it's like they rip off the Scooby-Doo. You rip off the mask, and there's a werewolf.
It's Old Man Jenkins.
Yeah, there's a werewolf underneath. You know who used to be like that? All in a fun way? Jay Bomeister.
Really?
Oh, yeah, Jay Bo. Silent Bob at the rink, quiet, calm. You get Jay Bo out, a couple of wobbly pops. He's out there dancing. He's like, hey, let's go. He's like, well, Philly goes streaking in the quad.
I would not assume that.
Yeah, it was great. I had J-Bo when he was 18 in Florida.
Oh, boy.
Got him out a few times. Took him under my wing.
What part of Florida?
Maybe South Beach.
There
maybe.
we go. Okay.
Maybe.
Yep. There it is.
Little rookie training, we called it. Yeah. Great dude. Fun guy.
This one is from the YouTube chat, the Air Alliance team YouTube chat from Droid FX. And this is a little banter between our listeners. He says, wish me luck at slow pitch softball. Hope I don't run into the fence again. Ouch. And then one of the other listeners, Gatorbait, says, if you run into the fence, it just means you're getting after it. That's the type of player I want on my squad.
There we go.
I like that.
Little compliments between the listeners.
I like that a lot.
I thought we were going listener on listener crime.
No, the way that Marsh set that up, I kind of thought the same thing, Jamie. But yeah, listener on listener love there.
And then we have another one.
Much better.
Yeah.
Craig Berube was on the show today, and he was actually giving it to you, Jamie.
What?
He was chirping a little bit.
Yeah, he was.
The 636 says...
You notice he was chirping on the phone, right?
He was chirping on the phone.
See what he says face-to-face tomorrow.
636 says, how can you not love this man?
Yeah. I know. He's great, isn't he?
He is great.
I love when he dropped the no big deal.
No big deal, top shelf.
After he told us the story about going top shelf against Dominic Hasek. That's fantastic.
It is great. I love when Chief goes off the rails a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's good stuff.
Me too.
Good man.
Hey, we have a great instant replay coming up. Speaking of Chief, you'll hear that interview that we did here in the Fast Lane for instant replay, which is coming up at 6 o'clock. An interview by Robert Thomas done on these airwaves earlier today as well. That'll do it for us. We got baseball tonight, too. Rangers-Astros, Game 3. See ya!
I remember in a playoff game against Buffalo with Flyers, I was playing there where Hasek was in net, and I ripped one over his shoulder for a 1-0 win. No big deal. Game winner. What has he got? 6, says that?